And we are live at Pocono International Raceway on TBS. The Miller 500 about to come your way. 41 cars, 500 miles. Beautiful day for racing, although quite breezy. And since the last time we were here on TBS, this is a whole new facility. The track was resurfaced coming into the new season. It's presenting quite a few challenges for these drivers. Dick Berggren?
Pocono was originally built in 1972, and after 23 years last autumn, they decided to repave it. They brought in special lasers, a brand new high-tech paving machine, filled it up with a brand new specially formulated aggregate, and they have come up with a glass-smooth, wickedly fast surface. The drivers love it. The fans love it, too. Now, the last time we were here on TBS, a black number 28 won the race here. And just a week ago, that same black number 28, in a moment of high drama, also won the race with a different driver.
Now, 2 years later, Ernie Irvan's comeback is complete. His emotional, popular victory at Loudon last weekend had the fans on their feet and his crew celebrating. With his first victory behind him, Irvan can now set his sights on the sport's ultimate reward, a Winston Cup championship.
Well, we're here with Ernie Irvan. Ernie, a week ago, not the completion of the comeback, but a big start to that championship for next year, possibly.
Well, I tell you, we had a great day last week, and that was all leading up towards, I think, what the talent of this race team, and they've shown it. I think that I've shown it, and it's just a matter of putting it together every week.
Ernie, I tell you what, from a driver to a driver, I'm thrilled to see you win last week. I'm glad to see you're back healthy, and man, you proved it all to him. You got this Yates car ready to run good today, and we're going to Steve Burns now.
Thanks, Mike. History and tradition mean a lot to Dale Earnhardt, and today he starts his 500th consecutive race. Dale, that's quite a milestone. What does it mean to you?
Well, we're pretty proud of it, Steve. It's it's hard work racing, and to do it 500 times in a row is pretty impressive. Terry Labonte, he's on ahead of us because 79 up here, we wrecked here and was out 4 races, so we'd be racing him for that. But still, I'm pretty proud of it. Richard Childerson, the guys have done a great job here with the car and the team, and we got a good race car for today's race. We make it our 500 and win one. That'd be great.
All right, well, he hasn't missed a day of work in 16.5 years. Let's go to Rick Benjamin.
Amazing string, 500 straight starts. Terry Labonte makes his 523rd here today. Now, there are a couple of other storylines that we're going to be following throughout the course of the day. This race could well hinge on a couple of things: shifting and fuel mileage, as they fire them up. To tell us more about those stories, the gentleman who'll call the action for us today, Buddy Baker, Chad Little, and our anchor, Ken Squire.
Indeed, we're ready for the 23rd annual Miller 500, and Chad Little, 6-time winner in Grand National last year, and the guy that set on the pole for the very first race of this series at Pocono, 144 as opposed to 164 miles an hour this year. Let's talk a little bit about how you get around this place. Buddy, they said you could draft off a paper bag around this 2.5 miles. Tell us about how important that is here.
Well, Ken, you keep hearing people talk about downforcing cars, handling this, that, and the other. You have to remember you run 200 miles an hour down the straightaway here, so drafting is very important. Also shifting. So when you go down the straightaway, you're shifting, keeping your car directly behind the car in front of you. The two cars really get down the straightaway much quicker. Drafting's very important.
And they continue to talk about mileage and how important it is when they come here to Pocono. And Chad Little, you can fill us in on how important this business of calculating that mileage is.
It is, and Ken, just like Buddy said, there's a few tracks on the Winston Cup circuit where fuel mileage becomes very important, and Pocono is one of them. A lot of full throttle racing, and like Buddy said, drafting plays right into the fuel mileage part of it, and we might see the race today be decided by fuel mileage.
Guess it's the way you go here at over 200 miles an hour every lap in this main straightaway. We'll be back with the starting lineup for today's race right after these messages.
They've poured into Pocono International Raceway from all over the eastern seaboard to see the Miller 500 today. Glad you're with us on TBS. Let's show you our AutoZone race analysis today. $1.2 million the purse for these 41 drivers. They'll go 200 laps. Race record belongs to Alan Kulwicki, 144 miles an hour, set several years ago. Ken Squire?
Just about ready. Send them on their way. And let's right now take a look at that Texaco starting grid for today's racing program here on TBS. Mark Martin, second pole of the year. And Morgan Shepherd, first time since '92 that he's been up front. Row 2 is Bobby Labonte, and Jeff Bodine is there. And in row 3, you've got Ward Burton and Johnny Benson. Had a great ride in qualifying. Row 4, Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt. For row 5, it's Jeff Burton and Derek Cope. Row 6, Blake Speed and Bill Elliott. And 11 of the first 12 have yet to win a race this year. Going to row 7, Rusty Wallace and Joe Nemechek. In row 8 today, it's Jeff Gordon, back there in third in the points, and Brett Bodine. Row 9 is Sterling Marlin and Pennsylvania's own Jimmy Spencer. For row 10, Randy McDonald from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, and Dale Jarrett. In row 11, it's Texas' Terry Labonte and Missouri's Ken Schrader. Row 12 is Rick Mast and Michael Waltrip. Row 13, Kenny Wallace and Kyle Petty. Row 14, Wally Dallenbach out of Colorado and Ted Musgrave from Wisconsin. In row 15, another Wisconsin driver, native Dave Marcus, Bobby Hillin out of Texas. Row 16 is Bobby Hamilton and young Jeremy Mayfield. In row 17, Dick Trickle and the pride of New England, Ricky Craven. Row 18 is Ernie Irvin and John Andretti. For row 19, you have Jeff Green and Greg Sachs. Going to row 20, there's Robert Presley and Hut Strickland. DW starts in one of those provisional berths in the back of the field, 41st. The Chevrolet course description of this 2.5-mile course on which they're competing today.
Very unique course, too, isn't it, Ken? 2.5 miles, 14-degree banking in turn 1. Long front straightaway, as you can see, over 3,700 feet. And then almost as equally as long straightaway there before the tunnel turn, we call. You hear us talking about the tunnel turn all day. It's the difficult one, isn't it, buddy?
That's the one you have to go through under full power. What you do, you set the car up on the outside to make the groove right around the bottom part of the tunnel turn there. That is very important to getting around this racetrack fast.
Now take a look at what also is important. These are the tail enders on this field, and they're all coming in after running 5 miles out here and just topping off those tanks, getting a little extra drop of fuel just in case they can get another lap or two.
You know, that's making us look good because we talked about fuel mileage at the start of the race there.
Making you look good, Chad. Chad Little is moving out of Winston Cup next year, and from the in-cars, let's take a look. Here's Jeremy Mayfield, going to be giving us these pictures today. Boy, what a lot of talk about him for next year. Jeremy Mayfield. Looking out the back of Jeremy's car.
Bobby Hillin shaking his tires there, getting all the debris off his tires.
Here's Mark Martin's car, a little closer to victory today, starting on the pole. But that pole hasn't helped him much here. Only 3 times has this race been won from the pole. 30th career pole for Mark. Ken Schrader. Like to see him have a good day, up in the top 10 in points. Front and back, giving you those pictures. Ken Schrader today.
That is the tunnel turn, and this little short chute right here going toward the front straightaway.
Well, here's Dale Jarrett with that number 88. He's got to come from, what, 20th position today? Some work to do, but that's not bad. I mean, they've come from much further back. Win this race. Terry Labonte came from, what, 35th, 37th? Getting ready for a start on this very flat 6-degree third turn, coming up to speed for the first time today. Ladies and gentlemen, the Winston Cup ready to ramble in its second and final performance at Pocono, Pennsylvania for 1996. Martin and Morgan Shepherd bringing them down.
They'll be taking the green flag in second gear, and you'll be seeing them coming up through the gears right now as they shift into third and into fourth.
Crowd standing, giving them an ovation to send them on their way for 500 miles here on TBS, and already 4 wide.
They're 4 wide there, but they need to get back single file going through the corner. The preferred line is right around that white line on the bottom there.
All repaved, and it really has made a great difference here. You can get a bite and stay up on that outside, flank somebody through there, run them double wide. Down that short chute, headed for the tunnel turn. Nice, easy start. So far, everybody looking good. And look at Mark Martin pulling away by 5 car lengths. Here's Jeff Gordon a little further back. And he's got Brett Bodine covered up on the outside.
Watch Brett Bodine fall back here and try to get down. Jimmy Spencer's right behind him. Watch as they come off. How much ground he lose to Jeff Gordon as they come towards the straightaway.
Spencer digging on the bottom, picking up another spot. It's Mark Martin across. leading the event. Morgan Shepherd holding second. Jeff Bodine with a good run looking at third. And Earnhardt beginning to move on the bottom.
You see a lot of blocking at a track like this, too. As they're going down the front straightaway, they need to block and protect that inside groove. And when somebody gets position going into one, they'll lose a few spots.
They've got Johnny Benson pinned high.
I was just fixing to say the 30 car there, the yellow one on the outside, was out of the groove, and he lost about 5 spots in that one corner by being high.
And probably going through the tunnel turn here, it'll be hard to maintain that spot around Ricky Rudd again, too.
Look at Rudd in the number 10 down to the bottom. And Benson, he ratchets his up a little. Derek Hope, however, drafting with Ricky Rudd, slides back beneath him. And with him comes Lake Speed.
Whoa!
Further back, there's Spencer out of control, headed for the wall. In it.
That was the second lap of the race, too.
First caution of the day as Jimmy Spencer loops one.
Line up behind the 12.
It looked to me like they were just running. Oh, and we've got some more people involved here. Bobby Hamilton and the 14 car.
Yeah, that's a bad break for that number 14 of Jeff Green.
His second career Winston Cup start, I believe, wasn't it, buddy?
Yeah, that's an Earnhardt car, but you can see it's moving on its own power. Maybe they can fix it and get him back in the race. It's very early, but Hamilton's not going to be so lucky, I don't think.
Hamilton has the nose knocked off the number 43. All ripped up. I think Darrell Waltrip got a piece of that, too. Waltrip's number 17 got crunched some. Caution is out. Mark Martin leading, and there's Green's number 14.
Okay, you see Jimmy Spencer underneath Gordon there. Watch the back end start around. He corrects. Now watch it come around and start with no banking here. You go right to the outside wall. He didn't hit that hard, Chad, but yeah, he hit pretty hard. I'll take that back. You could see the car jump up in the air a little bit.
Second angle. There's Hamilton getting around. Ooh, right in front of Ernie Irvan.
This was more of a result of the guys checking up and trying to get slowed down for what they saw and their spotters told them was going on in front.
That was John Andretti directly in front of the 43. You see DW sat backwards and he gets right into Hamilton there.
Right.
Man, can't tell you guys how disappointing this is for guys. It's the start of the race, and they know now all they can do is just fix a car, go out and get positions for their sponsor and think about those points, but they know they're out of contention for the win.
Under caution after 3 laps here in the Miller 500 at Pocono. Mark Martin's leading. We'll be back in a moment.
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by Plastico and by Amoco and by STP, celebrating 25 years with Richard Petty, a partnership in racing and high performance. STP, drive a better car. We only raced 1 lap this afternoon here at Pocono before our first caution. Let's show you a little more of our AutoZone race analysis today on TBS. Pole last year, Bill Elliott 162, just under half a mile an hour. This year, almost 6 miles an hour faster. Mark Martin going from the pole today. Dale Jarrett is the defending winner. He won in the 28 car when he was filling in for Ernie Irvan 1 year ago. The 43 car behind the wall already after that crash up at 3. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
It's even worse than behind the wall. It's in the garage, and it is torn up badly. Bobby Hamilton, what happened out there?
I seen the 23 car go around, and we come through the tunnel turn. I seen everything going on, and I mean, I started waving right then. All the way down there, started letting off and everything. And I looked in the mirror, and John Andretti was 5 or 6 car lengths behind me, and he just run in there and run plumb over me. You know, I guess he's looking at his hood pans, but he can't see. He ain't never been able to see, period. He just run plumb over me.
Well, that's one unhappy race driver. Mike Wallace?
We're in Jimmy Spencer's pit here. Car doesn't look all that bad for wear, to be honest. Looks like it scraped the left side. The track bar was bent under the rear. Travis Carter jumped over the wall with a jack, trying to straighten the track bar. They come back in, put right sides on it, raised the hood, chucked the front end steering assembly. Looks pretty good. Go to Steve Burns.
Mike, that's a tough break for Jimmy Spencer and Travis Carter. 4 of the last 5 races, they finished in the top 10 and really turned their season around. I talked to the team owner, Travis Carter, this morning. He said that's the best race car they have. It's run in Dover, Darlington, and, of course, here at Pocono.
So Petty Enterprises, they haven't won a race at Pocono since back in the mid-70s, and they're sure not going to pull this one out of the fire with the looks of car number 43 and a very hot Bobby Hamilton after that incident. DW's car is back in the garage. We'll try to get you an update on that one as well. We've now completed 5 laps, 3 of them under caution, 2 in race conditions. the number 90, Dick Trickle, who lost a car yesterday big time, crashed out here in qualifying, tore up one of Junie Donlevy's car, is back, ready to go. There's Mark Martin giving you these pictures of the inside as he gets down through turn number 1. And you see there again, they're topping off the tanks in the back of the field. Marcus just in front. Here's Joe Nemechek coming up.
Yeah, and the reason we see them doing that is if the track goes green now for a long period of time, these guys are in the back of the field. They don't have nothing to lose. They might as well come in, fill their tank up. What that might allow them to do if the track does go green is make another 3 or 4 laps. And if it works just outright, they catch a caution, then all of a sudden, where are they? They're in the lead.
Mark Martin leading for the 5th time in 1996. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
And Darrell Waltrip is looking over the remains of his automobile. What happened to you out there?
Well, I don't ever like to get upset, but that was pretty much uncalled for. I don't know what caused the spin out, but I was slowed down in good shape, and I think the 14 car, he just hit me in the rear end, running wide open, and that's the only damage I got really was from getting, all that came from another car, not from hitting somebody.
Well, he got hit hard. The whole back end of this thing is caved in. He's won 4 times here at Pocono. Today will not be the 5th.
675th start, and they're trying to spring it back out. A provisional starter in the back of the field. 3-time Winston Cup champion with his wife Stevie. Darrell Waltrip down there in the garage area. Hard way to go out, huh, buddy?
Oh, you can almost feel for DW. He wants something positive to happen, and he just can't quite get it going this year.
Ready to get it going once again as they come down to complete the 6th lap on this 2.5-mile track we're riding with Schrader as he brings them down. Right behind Rusty Wallace in the number 2. So you're riding in 14th position for a moment. The green is out. And back on board the Schrader as he scoots down toward turn number 1 and up on that banking. Just about like a road course with 3 differently angled corners here at Pocono.
See Rusty Wallace just in front of Schrader as they start down into 1. You can see the back of the car jump out a little bit. The front end takes off a little bit. Schrader's trying to get under him as they haul it down the back straightaway here.
Wallace in 13th spot. Schrader just behind him, and they're falling back from the front 13. Let's go back up front. As they come around to complete the 7th lap, Martin gets about a 3-car length advantage. Gee whiz, buddy, I almost said truck there. Here down at Louisville yesterday, had a lot of fun watching Ron Hornaday take that one. Gosh, that was a good race. This looks like it may be the same today.
You know, in the garage area today, everybody that talks about Mark Martin said one thing. He is flying through the corners here. Seems to be very free in the center part of the corner. Now, when the track gets a little slicker, will he have that advantage? I don't know, but right now you can see him building a little advantage up on 2nd place car.
Bobby Labonte, fellow to watch out there in the 18. He's hanging on to the back end of the Earnhardt number 3 as they continue to work their way toward the front of the field.
With these flat sweeping turns that we have here at Pocono, it's very important, like Buddy said, for the car to turn like it can in the middle. If it doesn't, then what's that mean? You're kind of pushing, exiting the corner, and you're going to run slower down the straightaway.
Earnhardt from 8th to 4th in 3 green flag laps. Bobby Labonte on the roll. And there's the 28, Ernie Irvin, down the inside on Dallenbach in the 15. And with him comes the Texas Terror, Terry Labonte, tearing down on the bottom and looking like he's got that spot cleared. Going to pick up one.
You watch this 28 car down the straightaway. They have high expectations today. They said they have a rocket ship down the straightaway, and you can see it is running very well.
Terry Labonte up to 27th position. 3 wide into the turn with Kenny Wallace on the outside. And as they ease down into the corner, got Randy McDonald there in that 78.
Hanging there with him now.
Jeremy Mayfield on the radio in the 98. He's running in 26th position. And here comes Texas Terry. McDonald in that 78, pinching, trying to hold back that number 5. But that's like a tidal wave as it begins to roll along up through the field. With him comes Greg Sachs in the 29.
With Wally Dallenbach on the outside there, he's really running quite well down the straightaway, as you can see. With Terry Labonte down through there, he's running just as well down the straightaway. I think through the corner that Terry Labonte has a good car there.
Greg Sachs on the inside, taking over for Steve Grissom And as he stacked them 3 wide, picked up a spot or 2 there. Mr. Drive for you, buddy.
Let me tell you something. You talk about raw courage, right there it goes in that 29. He really will put it down in the corner. He gets in trouble sometimes, but I'll tell you, it's not because of lack of courage going down in the corner.
It looks like he's running pretty good today, too. He's made up several positions already.
Up to fight for 27th at the present time as we look back in the field. Look at Labonte taking his time, trying to prod his way through. Jeremy Mayfield, who got a little loose out here in 3 yesterday, bent up the back end. They got it all back together. Loose in 3 as you go in, tight coming out. Wow.
That's Hutch Strickland in the 8 car there. He tore his primary car up in practice, but they cut the roof and all and dropped it 2 inches to make it what everybody's running here for downforce. And looks like he's done a good job of fixing it up.
And that's who I was referring to, was Hutch Strickland, who banged up a car and has gone to a car, and they really remade it this morning to get him out here to go racing. Let's go to Dick Berger.
Jeff Green's second career Winston Cup start comes to a premature end here in the garage area, sponsored by a magazine called Racing for Kids. But this was anything but for kids, Jeff.
It was, for sure that, Dick. You know, I don't know what happened up in front of us there, but I was right up under Darrell there, and he started checking up, and I couldn't get slowed down. I hate it for him. I hit him, and he's in this deal for the points. We're not, but, you know, I guess it's one of those deals. I hate it for him. But it was. I think it would have been a good day for us. Had the car running off a good. I kind of screwed up qualifying and got us back there in the back, so we'll just have to get them at Michigan.
Rough start to this race, Ken Squire.
Indeed it is, and rough start for McDonald, too, who has fallen back. McDonald now back to 36th position and try to fend off Rick Mast in the number 1 as he comes down the main straightaway. Meanwhile, here's your leader, Mark Martin in the number 6, drawing away by some 15 to 20 car lengths over second place. And at the present time, that's Jeff Bodine in this sort out. Morgan Shepherd's fallen to 3rd.
Jeff Bodine's running a great race. This is right up against the wall. Jeff Bodine going down through there in 2nd spot. He's hauling.
There's the 3 of Earnhardt right in front of him. Bobby Labonte has popped around Earnhardt, picked up 4th. Earnhardt falls to 5th. Then you've got Burton in 6th and Benson in the yellow car in 7th, followed by Ricky Rudd back there in 8th as they come down across the line to complete 12 laps. Here's Earnhardt. Sneaks a peek on the inside of Bobby Labonte. Ricky Rudd and Benson still stays in that high line down there in turn 1. Into the back straightaway. Bobby Labonte beginning to apply some pressure on Morgan Shepherd. The 22 of Burton climbing into this thing big time. Ward Burton out of South Boston, Virginia. He's got that Pontiac cranked, and he's coming after Earnhardt at the present time. Here's Rudd trying to make a move on him.
I think Johnny Benson's just sitting there riding right now. He may have a little push condition in the car or something, but he just moved over and let him go by. But he's very, very capable of keeping up with the lead group.
Ernie Irvan continuing to wander up through the field in a hurry today. I wonder if he really intends to get his 2nd in a row. Ernie Irvan's 28, and there you look further back in the field. A couple of surprises here in the early going. Terry Labonte is backed up. Remember, he started 21st in the show, and now he's back in 30th position, riding with Schrader.
Would you say Jeff Gordon had a good motor, Chad?
He got a good run on Schrader coming out of turn 2, that's for sure.
Take a look at the number 4 scooting down the inside. Whoa, that's getting a little tight out there.
Speaking of horsepower, watch this 4 car, Sterling Marlin, down the straightaway. He's really quick.
88, Dale Jarrett. He has now pulled himself up into 14th position. Schrader's in 15th. Marlin right there was in 16th, but he's about to take one back. Sterling Marlin going to 15th as he clears Schrader. This in lap 14.
I was hoping Schrader had got a good glimpse that the 4 car was where he thought he because the 4 started across, and you can see Schrader check up just a little bit. It's a little give and take this part of the race here. If you see a guy in trouble getting a little loose coming up towards you, you'll back out and let him get in line. 10 laps to go, that don't happen anymore.
No, it sure doesn't. It seems like the flatter the racetracks, a lot of give and take at a place like this, because once a guy gets underneath you, you better give him position. If you bump, the guy on the outside's probably going to be in trouble.
And with the speeds they carry on this racetrack, it's big trouble. Gordon's just picked up another spot. He clears to 16th. Now you see Ernie Irvin rocketing up through the field. He's currently in 18th. And we can learn a little bit more about shifting out here, particularly in that Ernie Irvin car. Story from Mike Wallace.
Well, the one thing about the 28 and 88 cars, talking to Larry McReynolds at the start of the race when we were interviewing Ernie, I looked down, there was an additional lever on the side of the shifter. And I said, Larry, what's the deal here? He says, that's what we call a first gear lockout. They're scared that Ernie or Dale would go from 4th gear when they go to 3rd gear with a Jericho transmission, accidentally get it in 1st gear. So they're racing very cautiously today that they don't have any transmission failure.
I can tell you this, if they ever get it in 1st gear instead of 3rd, they're done.
They'll know it big time. Let's go back up front for a moment as we watch Irvin close on Schrader. And there you see the front of the field as Mark Martin continues to dominate over Bodine, Shepard, Labonte, and Earnhardt in the early going. "19 laps complete. Mark Martin out with that lead, and a healthy one, over the best run that Jeff Bodine has had this year in 2nd place, and they have the field covered. There's the number 7 just in 2nd place, and from our Duralube aerial platform, the shot of Mark Martin headed for the tunnel turn. Looking a little bit further back here, you've got the 3 of Earnhardt, and there's Burton in the 22, and he's got Earnhardt pinned on the outside. Benson, who's had that high line through much of the early going, he's picked up a spot. Looks like Earnhardt's backing up a little here, gentlemen.
Earnhardt's got some kind of handling problem. He's beginning to drop back. As Jeff Burton in the 99 there getting by him. You can see Lake Speed in the 9 starting to move up there on the inside, and Derek Cope in the 12 just behind him.
And then comes the 88 of Jarrett being shown in 12th position. So Earnhardt is slipping back in his effort to win that 8th national title.
Don't let him hold you up, Blake.
There's Derek Cope. And you're listening to Lake Speed's audio. There is Lake Speed. And he's right in front of Dale Jarrett now.
Hole's closing fast. 88's looking to come with you. Watch your hole. You got it. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
What you guys are
12. Clear the 12.
What you guys are hearing at home is you're actually hearing the spotter for the number 9 car. He's telling Dale right there what's going on and when it's clear, and that's really important whenever you're racing here.
Just keep the pressure on him. Don't let him hold you up.
That's also the best pep rally you've ever heard right there. Come on. Get him excited. Get him stirred up. Make him go.
Wave those pom-poms.
Spotters can really play an important role. You know, sometimes you get in a lull and you need to find a groove. And I know our spotter, Phil Cook, he'll tell me things sometimes that just get me going. And then the other time when the car's not running good and they're telling you when that leader's coming, you're like, I don't want to hear that.
Speaking of coming up, look at Ernie Irvin moving up spot by spot. He's on a move towards the front.
14th now. He's on the back end of this pack. There you see Lake Speed having a great day. He's in 10th spot and challenging Earnhardt. And you look a little further back here. Here comes this duel. Then comes Dale Jarrett and Ernie Irvin creeping toward the front.
Ernie Irvin started 35th today, and right now he's currently in 14th.
88's looking.
Here comes Jarrett looking on the inside of Lake Speed.
But he's not going to make it. You can see Lake Speed moved to the inside to cut off Jarrett's run there going in the corner. Now Lake Speed's beginning to bounce out just a little bit. Jarrett will probably try to make a move. No, he's going to draft him down the front straightaway.
He's got one of those Robert Yates hog legs in there, so you know he's going to run down that straightaway.
Dale Jarrett in 11th. Last year he started 15th and came on to win. Then driving the 28, and there goes Irvin, peeking on the inside. Rick Benjamin can tell us more about this battle.
They have really had a difficult weekend, Ken. NASCAR said that the body panels, the rear quarter panels on the 2 Yates Fords had to be reconfigured. Larry McReynolds told me this morning they spent much of the late afternoon hours yesterday reshaping the quarter panels to make them legal in NASCAR's eyes. Obviously, it worked well.
It sure did. There goes the 88 into 10th spot, shooting by Lake Speed. closing up on Earnhardt. On board with Dale Jarrett as he looks back at who he's covered as he continues his pace toward the front. The race that turned him around a year ago, gave him a victory driving the 28 car. A week ago at New Hampshire International Speedway, first and second went to those Yates cars. And there is Allison's number 12 with Derek Cope at the controls, having a very good day in 11th position currently.
Here comes Ernie Irvin by him, though. I saw a piece of smoke come out of the right front there. I think maybe the fender hit the right front tire, I hope, because Ernie is really running well. Maybe it's just a little bit of rub there when he starts in the corner.
So Irvin is up to 11th.
Ernie Irvin is on a tear, you guys. I mean, he started 35th. He's up to 11th, and he seems to be able to pass cars at will when he gets them in position.
After he won last week, a lot of people said, yeah, but it was a one-groove track. Here comes Jarrett down to the inside. And Dale Jarrett is below Earnhardt and picks up another spot.
Well, we heard the spotter earlier say that Earnhardt was loose, and it looks like he continues to have problems. He's getting passed by cars right and left.
9th place now belongs to Jarrett, and here comes Ernie Irvin for 10th as the Yates brigade continues to move toward the front. Steve Burns can add some information for us about Dale Earnhardt's number 3.
Yeah, guys, you just speculated about Dale Earnhardt. He is struggling. His car is not handling well. He has radioed in saying his car is loose going into the turn and tight coming off. Expect him to pit around lap 37 or 39.
I'm going to jack some more into that one for sure. We're up to lap 24 right now. At lap 24. Here comes Derek Cope. And he looks like he's on a mission as he comes up to challenge Dale Earnhardt. Not that time in that corner.
Remember the strong run that Derek had here just a month ago at the spring race. I believe he qualified up in front, and he ran up front well all day long, and they finally had motor problems, but Derek's running well again today.
Here's Morgan Shepherd falling back into the clutches of Ricky Rudd. Rudd going to the inside. This is for 3rd.
Okay, Morgan's on the outside coming up out of the corner. You see that Ricky Rudd could not pull up 2 or 3 years ago before they repaved this thing. If you ever got out there, you'd lose 5-6 car lengths coming off the corner, but anymore, you're getting good forward bite coming out of the corners. You can see there that Morgan Shepherd pulled right back out in front.
You know, buddy, I was just going to say that same thing. I think when they repaved this track in the spring, it's allowed a little more side-by-side racing, because I've never seen cars being able to hold on to the car on the inside groove when you drive on the outside around some of these corners like they are today.
Not only that, but Johnny Benson, remember how he got caught up? Well, look at him. He's still right in there. Benson is running in 5th position. He ran that outside line. He's still got tires. He's still holding up well. In that second pack, from 2nd to 3rd is about 4 9/10 seconds.
When we see these cars turn into turn number 1 like we are right now, they're with Morgan and Ricky Rudd. Remember, they're going over 200 miles an hour as they enter into that turn. What they do is they downshift into 3rd gear, which helps their RPMs as they come up through the back straightaway, then the shorter straightaway after the tunnel turn.
The Grand National champion from a year ago, number 30, Benson, is closing on this pair. Morgan Shepherd, who started outside of the front row, and Ricky Rudd. There you have them, 3rd, 4th, and Benson is being shown in 5th. Present time, we have Burton back there in the 6th position. That's Ward Burton. And you've got Jeff Burton in 7th. Then you've got Dale Jarrett in 8th, Ernie Irvin in 9th, and Bobby Labonte in 10th. 24 getting around. Here is Gordon picking up another spot. Closes and moves around the 18. That's back in 15th place, that battle. Gordon beginning to pick it up. Let's go back up front. And up on the top of this race, it's Mark Martin leading. 2nd place continues to be Jeff Bodine. Fine performance by these two thus far. We're 27 laps deep.
Back at Pocono International Raceway on TBS, enjoying the culinary delights and the Miller 500 Winston Cup event as well. First round of pit stops ought to be coming up very shortly. We're hearing the leaders will try to stop around lap 37. That would mean about 92 miles on a tank of fuel if they're running all the way to the end. Do the arithmetic. Somebody might try to make it on 4 fuel stops today. It depends on how the cautions fall. Kenny Wallace is in. Bobby Labonte was just in before the 30-lap mark, so some teams may not be getting much fuel mileage at all. We'll keep track of that story for you throughout the afternoon here in the STP Pit Communication Center. Ken?
There was more to that story on Bobby Labonte. He had slipped from 4th to 16th position in 5 laps, back to 16th. They brought it in. They made some major adjustments on that one, buddy.
Yeah, you could see them taking a bite out of the right rear, Chad, and that usually means that he needed to come in and make an adjustment. He took on 2 tires to get back out in the fight, but he was losing so much ground he had to do something.
Yeah, I would have guessed, if they took some bite out of the right rear, they probably were a little bit loose. We saw him take 2 rounds out, but it's hard to say for sure if they made an air adjustment. I would assume they did. If the chassis was off enough to come in early, they probably made a major air pressure adjustment on the tires too, as well.
So Bobby Labonte is back in 38th position as you watch Morgan Shepherd in 3rd trying to fend off Ricky Rudd and John Benson. These 3 have been running nose to tail over the past 10 laps. We are at lap 31. Lap 31 is the one being covered right now by the stars of the Winston Cup at Pocono, Pennsylvania, where out of the top dozen in qualifying, only one of that dozen in the top 12 qualifiers has won a race previously this year. Martin's still looking for his first win of the season. He's trying from the pole, and that'd be worth over $150,000 additional dollars from the Unocal folks today.
You see the 28 car there, he's just making a steady run towards the front. Every time you look at him in the pack of cars, he's moved up 1, 2, 3 cars. Every time you see Ernie Irvan, he's on a direct march to the front.
But he's got a long way to go to collect the 5th place car. Benson, he is up to 6th, and there's a lot of distance there.
We talk about chemistry and momentum every now and then. I'll tell you what, after winning last weekend, the tear that Ernie's been on, you can see right now, and he hasn't even slowed down, and he's on his way up the field again.
Mike Wallace is with John Andretti right now on pit road.
Well, John Andretti's come in as the 4-tire stop. We thought we were going to see 2-tire stops today. John's got 4 tires in between here with the 28 car also. They're getting ready for a 4-tire stop also.
Ernie Irvan cutting that distance down very quickly. What an amazing run. I thought he had that guy covered, and he's just cleaned him up. He's right there.
We just saw John Andretti take on 4 tires. I'm a little surprised to see him take on 4 tires under green, because I can't imagine the tires are wearing that much. So maybe we can find out a little bit more of why they take on 4 versus 2.
Working 34, lap 34 at the present time. Michael Waltrip has just pulled onto pit road. Waltrip in the Wood Brothers, number 21, running in 18th position as he pitted. I can't believe how this tandem group of Ernie Irvan and Dale Jarrett just about 2 miles an hour faster than the leader, and he's closed up on Benson. I thought he's going to have to wait that one out. Wrong. He's there, knocking on the door.
Ken, I think we need to say again, Ernie Irvan started 35th, and right now he's making a move to pass Benson for 5th place as they go down into turn 1.
Got him, too. Not quite. Benson still hangs it on the outside.
You've got a front row seat on your viewing. That's at 200 miles an hour, you guys. It doesn't look like it right now, but I tell you what, that is a hair-raising experience. Buddy can say for that, Buddy, you won a race here, didn't you?
I tell you what, I've been awful close, but the first race that I ever run here, I went, I guess, a half a car length back with Richie Petty, and I've been second to the great Neil Bonnet. Never did win here, but I love the racetrack. It was great to run on. I think I had something like 10 top 10s or something like that. I really like this racetrack.
Chad, that's a big sore point with Buddy. You can talk about Talladega forever. You talk about Pocono with Baker, and he'll tell you about Talladega, the 4-time winner. All right, front of the field coming in, and we have Benson on pit road, Wallace coming in, Sterling Marlin is there, Lake Speed comes on, and the 99 of Jeff Burton, all on pit road in this one flock, and here comes Ken Schrader as well. This is happening at lap 35. Quickly to work on Wallace's car. Martin, Bodine, and Shepard, the front 3, are staying on the track. One caution early in the going as we just got underway. We had a caution. Bobby Hamilton's car out of the race after a hard crash up in turn 3. Since then, it's been caution-free.
I think we're seeing some interesting pit strategy unfold here. You saw Rusty Wallace just take on 4 tires. Johnny Benson pitted right before Rusty and Benson took on 2 tires. So you're already starting to see the different crew chiefs play out their strategy.
Mark Martin and Bodine come on to pit road now. Morgan Shepherd, here he comes. And the 88 is out here as well on pit road, and Ricky Rudd. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Ken, I talked to crew chief Steve Meal just a moment ago to ask about their adjustments. He said they are loose. They're going to put 2 rounds of wedge into the car and change 4 tires. Now, Dale Earnhardt is just entering his pits right now. I talked to Mike Thomas, the tire specialist. They are going to take a pound out of air pressure, a pound out of the right rear, and change 4 sticker tires. We have a wreck on pit road. It's the 8 car.
Yes, it's Hut Strickland. Something amiss on that. It bounced off the concrete. They've got it righted and bringing it back around. Hut Strickland's number 8 getting, this is the car they rebuilt this morning. And we can get more of the story on that car from Mike Wallace. Mike?
Well, we're standing in the 28 pits looking up, watching that stop, and the 8 car come in, appeared to be out of gas, almost overshot its pit, stood on the brake pedal hard, spun out. The guys pushed it back. The gas man run out on pit road to get enough gas in it. I'm sure you'll be seeing them coming back in.
Dick Berggren?
Jeff Bodine also ran out of fuel. His engine was running when he came here on pit road, but he pitted 3 laps earlier than he wanted to on lap 35. He wanted to go to 38, but the fuel pressure gauge said 0, so he came in. Bodine took 2 tires. That is a strategy developed in the last race here in Pocono by Mark Martin. Track position is ever so important. Taking 2 tires gets you back out on the racetrack faster.
Well, again, you know, we talked about pit strategy earlier. 20.9 there we see for Jeff Gordon. That's a good pit stop. Some teams are saying, okay, the tires are wearing, aren't wearing that bad, let's take on 2. The other ones are saying, let's go for 4 and see how that plays out with having a little fresher rubber. And we'll just have to wait and see how the race develops, or which crew chief makes the right call.
37 laps, 92.5 miles as they're making these pit stops under green. We'll take a break and be back with you. Labonte, he has just pitted and gone back out again. More of the story coming up in a moment. .40 laps complete, and there's Greg Sachs, led 38 through 40. First time he's led since 1994, back on the track. And that puts Nemechek into the lead, and he's out of sync with the rest of the field. And he had problems getting into the pit, this number 29. With more on the story, Dick Berggren.
He sure did, Ken. He almost clobbered the number 8 of Hut Strickland. Coming in, and he just locked the brakes up, got the car a little bit sideways, saved it, and went back off. That was good for Strickland because he's already demolished 1 car here in practice. He is running a backup car. Steve Burns.
Dick, Chad Little wondered just moments ago why Dale Earnhardt would take on 4 tires instead of 2. We talked to Mike Thomas, the tire specialist. Chad, he said the reason is it was so bad loose, he wanted 4 sticker tires. Hey, now let's go to Mike Wallace, who's in Ernie Irvin's pits.
Well, the 28 car Ernie Irvin, as we know, is on the move. This is why. They just changed right side tires only. I'm looking at the right front tire at the moment, right rear tire. Excellent tire wear. I'm sure the left sides are going to go a long way. Larry McReynolds says the car is just running great.
Our leader at the present time is Joe Nemechek. Number 87 is checked into the front position. And Rick can add to this car that's now out in front, leading. He pitted on lap 5. Let's get more from Rick.
That's exactly what we were going to point out, Ken. He's out of sync in a good way. If you can go 40 laps on a tank of fuel here, Nemechek's got a 5 extra lap cushion right now because he pitted at the tag end of Jimmy Spencer's caution. He was one of a very few cars who did that. Here comes Nemechek now for his fuel stop.
Joe Nemechek coming in, ran 3rd here a couple of years back and looking very good. Here's Steve.
Ken, we've been told that Joe Nemechek will go the alternate route of 4 tires. He is only going to take 2 tires. You know, Mike Wallace mentioned this earlier in the race that we would see more teams taking 2 tires. The reason for that is they don't want to give up track position. If you're not running with the leaders, you only want to take 2 tires. They've got the right sides on, the gas is in, and let's see, yeah, just 2 tires for Joe Nemechek. But he's being held by NASCAR officials.
I would assume that he probably sped down pit road. That's a very costly penalty, and I'm sure it's one that Joe's going to come back to haunt him later today.
Jimmy Spencer, who had inherited the first place, remember he was involved in that incident at the outset of the event. He's now on pit road. Here's number 23 giving up first. This will put Bodine into the lead with Martin second.
Since there's more than one Bodine in this race, I'm going to tell you is Jeff Bodine. What a great race he's running in the 7 car. And right behind him, Mark Martin is really closing in.
There's your leader. Jeff Bodine has it his way for a moment. We can go to Steve and get more on what happened with the 87 as he was held on pit road.
Yeah, Ken, they are not happy down here in these pits. I talked to the crew chief, Jeff Bice. He said they were penalized because the jackman jumped over the wall too soon, and he is not happy about it at all.
Well, they shouldn't be, you know. They shouldn't be happy about it. I wouldn't be either, would you?
Oh, you know, that's awful to have a penalty like that because the guy jumped off the wall. That's why they have rules. You don't want people standing out in pit road maybe getting hurt. So who knows? They did the right thing, I think.
The gray area there is it's a very, very subjective call by the NASCAR officials that's standing there. What the rule is nobody can jump over that wall before that car is more than one pit stall away. So the pit lanes are about 25 feet long. That means that car gets in within 50 feet. He can jump over the wall, but not before.
Let's reestablish the front of the field after these green flag pit stops for you. We're running at lap 44 with Jeff Bodine in first, Mark Martin in second, Ernie Irvin is third, Benson is running in fourth. It's Morgan Shepherd in fifth, and then you have Ricky Rudd in the sixth position. Running seventh is Jarrett in the 88, followed by Burton in number 22, and that would be Ward Burton. Then in the ninth position is Rusty Wallace, and 10th is Blake Speed. You're riding with Jeremy Mayfield at the present time. He's back in 18th position.
And he's right behind Dale Earnhardt, and just in front of him, Terry Labonte. First and second in the national point standings. You see Earnhardt going by Labonte as we speak.
And as Labonte fades high, you can see as they pitted the summary where they went in, where they came out, swapping the lead on that pit stop between Bodine and Martin. Sterling Marlin continuing to collect positions out here.
There goes Martin back into the lead.
That was for the lead right there. Mark Martin just got underneath Jeff Bodine.
Ford's dominating. They hold the top 11 spots. Highest Chevy right now is back there in 12th spot. Jeff Gordon, you know, Jeff Gordon did lead a lap. And Gordon on this season's had an amazing run. He's led a lap now in 10 straight races. Look at Rudd right up on the back of Shepherd. That's for 5th spot. Now here's Gordon. He closes in. Takes his run down the main straightaway on Derek Cope. Derek's in 11th, driving the Allison number 12. And a new sponsor for Bobby Allison here, the Babcock car, and right with him, that's Jeff Gordon. He's been in third in the points since back at Dover. Just stays there about 5 races.
Ken, he has. He's run very consistent. He's fallen out of some races though, and this is not a typical race for Jeff Gordon here at Pocono. He's usually right out front and setting the pace for everybody. As you can see, he's struggling just a little bit here. I think he's a little bit off on the chassis.
Got a lot of time to make some adjustments before this one is over today. We've now completed 47 laps. We've gone 117.5 miles. There's 153 laps left in this Miller 500, and here comes Gordon climbing up alongside Derek Cope. Boy, that has got to be some ride. That is some toboggan run down this main straightaway up into turn 1.
Well, right about there, you just lag the brake enough to just kind of turn the car. You pick the throttle back up. You can see Jeff Gordon accelerating up out of the corner just a little bit better than Derek Cope. But boy, you talk about really adjusting. When you turn left to get in that corner, you realize you're running 200, whether anybody else can tell it or not, Chad.
You know when you're driving down into that corner, you're going 200, don't you, buddy?
You bet.
5 wins on Gordon, but the interesting stack there was that 4 DNFs. And he's still in third. So here is Morgan Shepherd for the moment. That's Morgan Shepherd barely in 5th, and Ricky Rudd trying to slice beneath him or anywhere around him to take that spot. Rudd having a very good run today. And same is very much true for Morgan Shepherd. If you're just joining us, Morgan, for the first time since 1992, started in the front row. He had that Remington loaded, and he started outside of Mark Martin when they came down for the green.
Ken, this is a kind of racetrack that you can use a lot of strategy as a driver. You kind of look at the guy in front of you, see how he's running, where he might be tight, where he might be loose, how he's entering, exiting the corners. You can really set up the guy in front of you before the pass.
Interesting. Why we've seen so many penalties today? I wonder if Dick Berggren can tell us more.
Well, we can tell you a little bit about it, Ken Squire. You know, in Buddy Baker's day, you could get away with a lot of stuff. They didn't have any in-car cameras. There weren't cameras all over the turns, and there were only about a half dozen officials on pit road. Today, we got cameras in cars, we got cameras in helicopters, we got cameras all over the racetrack, and on pit road, 21 officials, one for every other car. These guys almost can't sneeze, but there's an official there to make sure that they don't do anything wrong. And Chad Little, you're going to have to behave yourself when you go run full-time Winston Cup.
This is Buddy Baker talking to you, son. I know you were there. You're old enough to remember anything that I might have done.
Basically, Buddy's apologizing right now before he gets himself in trouble.
He does a lot of that. None of us know why. Guilt, I guess. Take a look at this battle. Here's that number 4. And the guy that has owned Talladega goes for 3 in a row next week there. Has a good war going with Kyle Petty on the outside. The 4 and the 42 hooked up. I think that's the 13th spot at the present. I think they've swapped that around a little in the last lap. There's Jeremy Mayfield. The 98 is being shown in 17th position as he comes down the main straightaway to complete his 50th lap in the Miller 500 and shifts gears.
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by Channel Lock, Budweiser, and by Valvoline.
132.5 miles, 53 laps have been completed here in the Miller 500 at Pocono. You're riding with Jeremy Mayfield, number 98, the Cale Yarborough car, in 18th position. And there on the dash, you see the colors of Montoursville, Pennsylvania, very close to this Pocono track and very close to everyone's hearts these days, Montoursville. And those ribbons are bedecked on every driver and almost every crewman here today. Rick Benjamin can tell us more.
Well, Ken, Brett Bodine and his team are racing also in memory of one of the victims in particular of TWA Flight 800. Dan Bashesky was an employee of the Lowe's Corporation. He was on the plane. He was one of those killed Wednesday when the plane exploded over Long Island Sound. And there's a little sign on the 11 car that says, "In memory of Dan." And the ribbons that we saw on Jeremy Mayfield's car yesterday, if you were with us on TBS, Blaze Alexander, who ran in the race, ran very well, is from Montoursville, so it was a very meaningful weekend for many in this area around Pocono International Raceway.
Hearts and condolences, everyone in this racing family. The Winston Cup family certainly go out to those folks, not only from Montoursville, but from across America. Take a look at number 4, making his move, getting himself up another spot. 13th now, Sterling Marlin out of Columbia, Tennessee. Kyle Petty right there behind him. Michael Waltrip next in line, running in 15th, and Earnhardt in the tail end of that group. They trail the leaders by 28 seconds, that pack, gentlemen.
They helped Earnhardt's car just a little bit. You can see Terry Labonte fading still. He does not have his car just right yet. Earnhardt is able to move pretty well right now, but he's lost a lot of track position. If a caution comes out, is the only way he's going to catch right back up, I think.
Well, there's a change of position. Ricky Rudd turns it up another notch. Ricky Rudd around Morgan Shepherd. That's for 6.
Well, Ricky finished second in the race earlier in the year here at Pocono, so he's got a good combination here, and it seems to be working quite well today.
You know, Ken, you mentioned that the car's running in about 11th and 12th, or about 28 seconds behind the leader. This place takes just about 55 seconds to get around, so you're looking at the pace that those leaders are setting. They're about a half a lap ahead of the cars running in 12th and 13th.
And if you're just joining us, hard day for the Petty team. Just at the outset of the event, big crash in turn number 3. Bobby Hamilton in the 43 car was thrashed. Darrell Waltrip's car badly battered. He started 41st today. He had the binders on, was just trying to back up. He was drop kicked. Those top runners hurt. Mark Martin led at the outset. Jeff Bodine was in second. They swapped it once. But one of the bigger stories at the moment is Benson. He fell from third back to 10th, and he's worked his way right back into this thing, into fourth, even though we've gone through one complete pit stop under green, made himself a real factor. And there you see Ricky Rudd. Rudd in, down the main straightaway. Here's Jarrett in the 88. Close on Benson. Maybe he'll try that pass down here in turn number 1. Let's ride with Dale and see what he does going into the first corner.
Well, he made his move to the inside. You see Benson roll out of the throttle. He makes the pass going into turn 1.
Good enough for fifth. For fourth.
You know, the reason that it looked like Benson backed up so quickly there is he did just like Buddy said. He actually did get out of the throttle earlier to let Dale go by and gave him position there instead of fighting side by side through that corner.
Excuse me.
I was just going to say, a little give and take. We'll see that a lot today, and a lot of the more veteran, experienced drivers will do that all day long until we get down to the last few laps and you're going for position.
You know, Chad, we were talking earlier in the telecast today about the concern that the Yates team had for 28 and 88 in the shifting process here, and how they'd sort of lock those things so they wouldn't have problems for Ernie Irvan and Dale Jarrett. Right now, we can go down to Steve Burns, who can give us a little more on that story and explain it to you a little better, perhaps.
Ken, we're looking at a Jericho transmission, which is familiar to all the drivers here at Pocono. Now, this is an unusual track. On almost all the ovals, once they get into gear, they don't shift again until they come into the pits. But at Pocono, they need to shift once they get into turn 1 to keep up enough RPMs to get off the corner. This Jericho transmission is also usually a clutchless transmission, and Buddy and Chad know more about that than I do.
Well, it's actually the way the gears are cut. They're made by company in Jericho. Jerry Hemmingson is the owner of the company, and the gears are straight cut. They don't use a synchronizer in between for shifting, and you actually don't need the clutch. You push that shifter up, and it'll grab a gear. That's why I think they're referring to the Robert Yates team of using a first gear lockout. So if the driver made a mistake as he's shifting into third, he wouldn't accidentally hit first, because it will go from fourth to first. And what would happen then? Well, the motor would blow up.
Kapow. No, we were talking about the motor blowing up. We scared Baker.
I started looking for trouble up here. For the people that are not real technically minded, let me just tell you about Jericho. The gear is as big as my fist down in there, and when you shove it in gear, it don't matter whether you use the clutch or not. There's something there to get into, so it would be very easy to throw it into low gear and really just over-rev the engine, tear the motor up.
Big as his fist. I mean, that really explains it here.
And like Steve said, this is a very
big as your mouth.
we need a picture of his fist. They've seen our mouths. You just saw the 33, and after that great run a week ago, that's not a good day for Presley. He's being lapped. He's back in 32nd position, and he got caught up by Mark Martin in the main straightaway. Now look at this. Here's Ernie Irvan up on Jeff Bodine. This is for second spot. You have Dale Jarrett third, Johnny Benson fourth, Ricky Rudd in fifth, in sixth. Then you have Shepard in seventh, Rusty Wallace eighth, Gordon is ninth, Lake Speed is 10th, followed by Burton, Cope, Martin, Kyle Petty to 14th. Michael Waltrip is 15th, and Earnhardt settling back in 16th with 17th belonging to the point leader Terry Labonte. Second place belongs to Irvan.
Well, when they come out of the pits a while ago, Ernie Irvan actually beat them out of the pits and lost positions, and he looks like he has a setup that's good on long runs. He's now making a move back up through there. As you could tell before they stopped just a little while ago, he's the fastest car on the track. He lost some ground on fresh tires, but the minute the tires get hot, everybody else's chassis starts giving up. Ernie Irvan starts moving back towards the front.
1 8/10 seconds between first and second place, and with more on car 28. Here's Dick Berggren.
Ken, there's no question but that Ernie Irvan is incredibly fast here at Pocono. He has, in fact, led 7 of the last 11 races he has contested here. The problem, and the crew is worried about this, however, is that Ernie is on the gas so hard that at Pocono, he tends to blow up engines. Specifically, in the last 3 races in a row here in July, he's lost a timing chain, a whole engine, and a valve. In fact, he crashed out of here early in 1996, June 96, lost the motor in June 92. They've detuned things a little bit, tried to make sure that Ernie's engine's going to be there at the very end.
It's gone down from 1.8 to 1.5 second interval between Mark Martin leading in this event and Ernie Irvan in second place. Lap 64, Kenny Wallace is on pit road. Randy McDonald has pulled onto pit road, and the story out on the racetrack is the difference between 6 and 28, and it is Ernie Irvan just crowding onto the back end of car number 6, Mark Martin, lap after lap. The last race, your day ended early here, but what is your assessment of this track after a full race has been run, Ernie Irvan?
It's real smooth. I mean, it's smooth down the straightaways, but the corners are, they just, it's got big humps now. It's like riding a roller coaster now instead of just little humps. So that's where I think everybody was having their problems. I mean, that's got me into the problem in turn 3, and you know, we're going to fight that all the time, and it's a matter of getting your shocks right and your chassis right to be able to go over those humps.
Well, you're looking at Ernie Irvan moving in on Mark Martin as they go across the tunnel turn there. You can see he really has that car tracking well through the corners. They're down the little short chute, heading into the long turn, going in for the front straightaway. Look how he closes in as they start in the corner. This car is really handling well.
You know, we heard Ernie Irvan say the key here is the shocks and the spring combination, getting your chassis right. I wonder if this is the same car that he raced last weekend. And Mike Wallace, can you add to that?
I sure can, Chad. This is not the same car he won with last week, but it's a car they ran at Dover early this year for a tire test. Ironically, they destroyed the car. They took it back home, rebuilt it, and boy, that thing is hauling the mail right now.
Tough business television.
Hey, he was 12th in the points coming into this race. He was 32nd after Richmond. And I tell you, Ernie Irvan is coming. This is it for first spot, and he just went like an arrow.
He sure did. That was the tunnel turn right there, I believe.
Boy, he just cleared him out. And he's left him by 20 car lengths.
Well, there had to something happen to the 6th car. You would have to almost guess that when he went in the corner, the front end started pushing. He had to get out of the gas, and of course, Ernie went right on by.
I think he was coming so fast it just scared Mark to death, and he had to get out of the throttle there. Where in the world did this guy come from?
A lot of folks standing and cheering, holding those 28 flags up as Ernie Irvan has thrust himself out into the lead in this event. And what a run this has been. There were a lot of naysayers, even after last week, that said, yeah, he won on a mile at New Hampshire. Yeah, but the track had torn up. It was a one-lane track. Yeah, he can't do it on the super speedways. You wait till he gets on the 2.5 mile. Folks, he's on a 2.5 mile super speedway, and Ernie Irvan has just cleaned out the field. He has moved into first, and he's rolling away. Mike Wallace can give us more on this 28.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm down to 28 pits. These guys are excited. Ernie took the lead. They jumped up on the wall, flapping and everything else. And, you know, it was ironic. About 10 laps ago, I was talking to one of the guys down here, and Ernie come across the radio and said, I learned something from the 6th car. The car's handling better now since I changed my line. So Ernie learned something from the 6th. The car is great. The crew's pumped up. We'll take it back to Steve now.
Thanks, Mike. I just talked to Steve Meal, and I said, hey, well, the 28 went by in a hurry. Are you guys having a problem? He said, yeah, we got a problem. The 28 car's too fast. But they're going to pit on lap 71, and Steve Meal says they're going to lower the track bar a ½ inch and take 4 tires.
Well, what that would mean, you guys, is if he's going to lower the track bar, the car's probably a little bit too loose. He's going to lower the rear roll center, which will help give the car a little bit more forward bite, tighten the car up so he can get in the gas harder earlier.
There's Ricky Rudd that's just gone around Benson for 5th spot, and here you see the 21 complete with a brand new donut that he didn't get for breakfast. Michael Waltrip on pit road in 17th spot.
Oh, you're good, man.
Just take a look at it. I mean, it's there, Baker.
We're on lap 69 right now, and we're going to start seeing the normal routine of gas stops right now. And since we're under green flag again, we'll see the strategy start to play out. Maybe the guys that took on 4 last time will take on 2 this time. I believe the people that took on just 2 last time will probably have to take on 4 this time.
The story everyone is talking about, from 35th to 1st in 67 hard-driven laps. This man, Ernie Irvan, out in front today. The 1991 winner back there in Daytona for Morgan McClure back when he drove the car 4. Now he's back in championship form here in 96, the winner at New Hampshire last week, and making this thing percolate around this 2.5 miles with 70 laps complete when he comes by this time. That'll get us 175 miles into the history books. Now take a look at this for third spot. There's the 88 down on the inside of Jeff Bodine.
Ken, only last week, first and second, the 2 team cars, Ernie Irvan and Dale Jarrett. And you can see Dale Jarrett's on a mission right now as he goes by Bodine as they go down in turn 1.
Hey, let me ask you guys about these super teams. You look at the top 10 this year in Winston Cup racing. The 300 cars are all in that top 10. Both of the Yates cars, that's a lot different than what we've seen a lot of other years. Bill Elliott is in pit right now. We'll get back to my question in a moment. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Again, Chad Little wondered about the tire strategy. Well, Bill Elliott took right sides only for Bill Elliott, and Mark Martin's on his way down soon.
See Robert Presley about to get lapped again by some of the others. He's running 26 on the field.
You know, Ken, you alluded to those super teams, and I think it's not only interesting you look at the top 10 and how Hendricks is doing, but out of the top 14, over 50% of all the cars in the top 14 are among multi-car team owners.
We'll talk more about what that's going to mean for the future. Mark Martin is on pit road. Here comes Dale Jarrett and Bodine, all on pit road. And if you're keeping track at home, this is lap 71. Ricky Craven is pulling as well. Here's Dick.
Jeff Bodine, who won this race in 94 and also in 90 on pit road. It's going to be 4 tires this time. They don't like the way the chassis is handling. They're going to try to tighten it up with 4 tires. Steve Burns.
And indeed, they are making a adjustment to the track bar. They took it down a ½ inch on Mark Martin's car. They are making a 4-tire change. The right side was very quick. The left side, all the gas is in, and Mark Martin is down and away. We understand the 3 car must pit. He may be out of gas.
3 car is in the pits right now, Steve.
Yeah, we were told that Dale Earnhardt was out of gas. We got to look down here. They've got the right side tires going on right now, cleaning the windshield. And looks like the left side, no chassis adjustment on the 3 car. Again, we don't know how much track position Earnhardt may have lost in running out of gas, but it looks like he's down and away. Sterling Marlin's out as well. And now we go to Mike Wallace.
We're here in the 28 pit. The Ernie Irvan crew stops pretty routine right at the moment. A little problem on the right front wheel, but the left front's done. Waiting a little problem on the left rear right now. They're waiting on, now they're down and away.
Ernie Irvan giving up that track position, having to fuel situation at lap number 72. That would take you down to 180 miles. Here's Jeff Gordon on pit road. Jeff Gordon pulled up into 5th position in this wholesale change of the field in the 2nd green flag condition stop. And it is feeding time for the Elephants this afternoon. They're all on pit road. There you see Lake Speed, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, all in there at this moment as they work lap 73.
You know, the opening of the show, we talked about how important fuel mileage can be at a track like this, and it's not only because of the nature of the racetrack, a lot of full throttle racing, but it's also because this track lends itself to usually not having a lot of cautions. And if we've seen the race unfold so far, we've had 2 green flag pit stops in a row.
Dick Bergen with the 75, and we can hear their radio as well.
Morgan Shepherd in. They're going to do right side tires. This car has been a rocket since Jerry Kinnan joined the team as the crew chief. It's going to be 4 tires for Morgan Shepherd in the number 75 car. That's one of the Fords contesting the race here at Pocono this afternoon. Right side's done, left side's done. He's gone.
He led lap 73 and is away, Morgan Shepherd. That extra 5 bonus points, boy, will those add up the way this point battle is going over the top 15 in Winston Cup standings this season when they get to the Waldorf Astoria come December. So we are in this green flag pit stop area of the race, and we'll be back with more in a moment. From the Diralube aerial platform, looking down on the 2.5-mile Pocono Raceway on this gorgeous July afternoon. 77 laps are complete, 192.5 miles. I'm Ken Squire. Here as we give you live coverage on TBS. With me today, Chad Little, 6-time winner in GN last year, and old pal Buddy Baker, who getting all excited because Talladega's next week, and he won there. Yeah, we know. You won there.
Sweet home Alabama.
4 times.
All
yeah.
right.
But right now, the story we're watching here is Mark Martin. Incidentally, Kyle Petty had led for a few laps. And that is the 4th race that he has led this year. And leading any kind of an opportunity to get 5 points out here is critical when you add them up at the end of the year.
Well, I tell you, just do a little simple math. If you lead a lap every race, whether you do it by staying out and gambling on a little fuel mileage or whatever, there's 31 races in the season, five bonus points. That equals about a top 5 finish for the year.
Martin's first, Rudd second, Irvin is third, and there they are running in tandem once again, the Yates team, the 28 and the 88, and more on the story from Rick Benjamin in the STP Pit Center.
Ken, Ernie Irvin looked like he's had the strongest car by far here today. Want to know some history about this event? Worst starting position for a Pocono winner ever was Terry Labonte last June 27th. Irvin today from 35th to the lead. He isn't there now, but he may be back there soon. Let's find out more. Mike Wallace.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm here in the 28 pits, and I got to looking at the toolbox, and there was a can of Pam, and I was thinking they were fixing something up for Buddy Baker up there to eat. And I got to talking to Joey Knuckles, and Joey, you're using Pam, cooking product. What are you doing that for?
Well, I'll tell you what, I about burned the kitchen down the other night. In all seriousness, so this stuff works pretty good because I change the front tires, and we use like 70-30 brake ratio, and the Ray Bastos pads are the best in the world, but they get real dry. So I go over there with the impact, and it acts like an air blower, and it just covers up my face. So I wear these good glasses and all, but it keeps it kind of calmed down. Just something to try.
I'll tell you what, if you ever watch a good pit stop, as soon as they hit the impact in there, it blows brake dust everywhere. Joey's figured that up. But Doug Yates sitting behind us. Doug's the one that actually builds the motors for this 28 and 88 car. His motor crew and those guys are really pumped up down here.
Speaking of Mike Wallace, he buys his clothes at the men's store also. He's not a little boy himself.
Yeah, he's a pretty good-sized guy. But I'll tell you right now, the key to that story is by next week, there'll be the biggest sale on that Pam stuff. Sportsman cars and late model cars all over the country. Well, you saw Ricky Rudd for a moment. He's up in second spot. Jarrett and Irvin fighting it out back here. Now Irvin back in front. And as they continue to move around, Rudd has slipped back a bit here and fought his way back in. Now he's back in 5th, and we can get more on the story on pit road.
Moving forward on the racetrack by using smart pit strategy, Ken. Instead of taking 4 tires the first time in, he took outside tires. Second time in, he just took left side. That was a 12.33-second pit stop, put him ahead of everybody else who had taken 4. The tire Goodyear has brought here is so good, it does not give up. They run about as fast after many laps as they do when they're brand new. We're going to see some very fancy thinking going on before this race is over, vis-a-vis tire strategy.
The tires are excellent that they brought here for this race as they were for that race back in June. You saw the number 11, Brett Bodine, the Lowe's car, in that 29th spot. Right with him is Burton in the 99, Jeff Burton. And there's Ricky Rudd, who stays right here in second spot behind Mark Martin. The interval is now 1 2/10, almost 1 3 between Martin and Rudd, first to second.
Watching Ricky Rudd there in the 10 car run along right now. He got great track position because of pit strategy, but closing in behind him there just a second ago, the 28 car nearly got around backwards. He got tremendously sideways off second place there. And I'm going to tell you, right, it seems the team car is helping him down the straightaway, but when they get right up under each other, Jarrett was right up under him. They come off the corner, and they took some of the air off the spoiler, and he was very lucky to save the 28 car.
And there is that 28 in third, and you saw the interval between him and Ricky Rudd, the number 10 in second place, as Mark Martin continues to lead. Now you're back with Schrader in the 25.
Watch, we'll be able to see, well, we could have been able to see Schrader. What they do is they shift about the start-finish line again, and they do that so they don't over-rev the motor down the very, very long front straightaway, and then it gives them a little bit better RPMs down the shorter 2 other straightaways.
You see him shift there. He waited until he got down in the corner because Mark Martin was up under him. Usually you shift up on the hill and then coast down in the corner.
Yeah, well, unlike the road courses, they shift here. Well, road racing, we usually shift to help slow the car down to avoid, beating our brakes up. Or here, the shifting is for a little different reason. It's to keep the RPMs more in their peak horsepower range.
Schrader is in the 26th position as he is lapped. Musgrave is the next to be lapped if Mark Martin can catch him up and vacuum him into this thing. He's running 25th. Bill Elliott is 24th. John Andretti 23rd. And Dallenbach is in 22nd. Trickle is 21st, and 20th is Burton, as we look at some of those positions further back here as Mark Martin continues his march. Take a look here at Jeff Gordon. That's 8th place. Wallace in 9th in the number 2. Looks like he's got that car sorted out some from what we saw earlier, folks.
I think Rusty Wallace, if you look year in, year out at Pocono, Rusty Wallace has always been a very good runner here. One reason is he's a great road racer, and the 2 flat corners at the far end of the racetrack. This is turn 1 right here, but turn 2 and 3 are very flat like a road course, and he really gets around great here.
See that stat on Jeff Gordon. This is not the Gordon in some of those races that we've seen earlier this year in those 5 wins. The number 90 is back on pit road, Dick Trickle. They had a car totally destroyed, and Trickle was lucky to walk away from it here as they prepared for this Sunday's event, the Miller 500. Race number 17 of the 31 in the, what, $70 million now? Winston Cup Series. How much was it worth when Baker was out there?
Like I said, the money would buy something then. It wasn't a down payment.
Okay, coming down to the tunnel turn. Rusty Wallace looking on the inside. Again, you're looking at 8th and 9th position there.
You know, the reason we call it the tunnel turn, it's really kind of a simple definition. It's because there's a tunnel that goes underneath the track, and that's where the cars get in and out to the infield of the racetrack.
You can see it on the right-hand side as they go through the corner there. That's Jeff Gordon leading Rusty Wallace down what we call a short chute. Going into turn 3, you'll see them go right around the bottom part of the racetrack. Now they'll flare out right here towards the outside line and out to the outside wall to get a good run down the front straightaway.
Five-car Terry Labonte. He's behind the 98 car now, and he may be developing a problem. He's back in 14th spot. Dick Berger, have you got any late news on Terry Labonte?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of problems. Rick Hendrick says he's a little bit loose, but that's not what they're really worried about down here. Gary Dehart is concerned about the gas pedal. It seems to be flopping around a little bit in the car. It absolutely should not be doing that, so there is concern about Terry Labonte's throttle.
And Terry Labonte finds himself well back in this field. He is running in 14th position. It's shown car number 5, the point leader. Mark Martin's out in front.
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by Ford Quality Care, RCA, and by Duralube. Our hard-working staff bringing you wonderful pictures today from Pocono International Raceway on TBS. The NASCAR Winston Cup Series, the Miller 500 today. We're working lap 88 right now, and the lead is in the hand of Mark Martin at this point. We're worrying about the fuel situation, concerned about it. Many of these teams are when the cars will start coming back in, needing to stop again. We've run green here for an awfully long time. The fuel window should hit around lap 105, 107, somewhere in there. Many of these teams going about 35 laps, which would be about 85, 87 miles on a tank of fuel today. Steve Burns, how are they finding the fuel mileage to actually work out when they start checking the cans after a fuel stop?
Well, Rick, this is, in fact, a fuel mileage track. Now, what these teams do is they weigh the gas cans when they're full. We have a scale right here in the pits, and you'll see when I put my hand down, it starts to read out next to it. Now, when these gas cans are full, they weigh about 80 pounds. When they make the pit stop, they'll bring the gas can back here, set it back on the scale. Then they'll subtract the empty from the fuel, from the full rather, to get the number of pounds of gas that they have used. Now, they also have a mathematical formula. Once they find out how many they've used, they multiply that times 7. And I'm not a mathematics professor, but that relates to the specific gravity of gas. So there you have it.
Okay, did you get it, Baker?
I got it.
Okay.
Run till they tell you to come in. That was my theory.
Mark Martin is in front, but his lead It's beginning to evaporate. Ernie Irvan has moved to second, and Jarrett has moved to third. And where it was 2.8 between first and second, it's now 2.4. Ricky Rudd is back to fourth, and here you see Jeff Bodine. He's in fifth with Morgan Shepherd, the number 75 car, in sixth. Just behind him is Johnny Benson, followed by Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, and Lake Speed stays 10th here in the Miller 500, the 22nd annual at Pocono International Raceway. Morgan Shepherd making a move on the inside as he closes down. And double wide in the maiden straightaway. He comes with Jeff Gordon high. Morgan Shepherd on the bottom. And he tucks back in again. Just in front of them is Brett Bodine in 27th position, number 11.
It looked like Bodine had a tremendous amount of motor down that straightaway. Morgan Shepherd actually had to run on him coming up out of the corner, and Bodine just kind of drove away from him. As they go down the back straightaway, though, it looks to me like the 7 is a little bit off. Maybe he saw him in the mirror and said, hey, I'm going to let him go. Maybe he's got a better line. Let me see what he's doing.
Well, we heard earlier, a little discussion about that where Ernie Irvan commented that the line that Mark Martin was taking helped him out a little bit. So, yeah, the drivers do watch the cars in front of them, and they might see a little different line, even if it's a couple feet different. They might see that line, and they're going to say to themselves, let me try this line. If the car feels a little bit better, they're going to keep running that line.
Within 10 laps of halfway in the race, the SS Hesperus, captained by Bobby Hamilton, just went out and did 3 or 4 laps and pulled in, and I mean, that thing looks like it is a wreck.
That's a wrapper off of a cigar. It is no longer a cigar. You can tell that. Boy, that thing is beat up. Bobby Hamilton, if you just joined the telecast, was in an early wreck just as we started the race, and really wiped out the Richard Petty number 43.
Not his fault either. Jimmy Spencer spun. He tried to avoid. He got collected, and away he went into the third turn wall. More on that story as we get down to halftime in the Miller 500. Here's that 7, Bodine, having to work to keep Benson behind him now in 6th spot. Shepherd's pulled up into 5th. Bodine is in 6th, and here's Johnny Benson with as good a run as he has had in 1996.
I think this is probably the best run that he's had in 1996, and it's not by fluke either. He started up there and he stayed up there.
Well, he fell back a bit. He went back into 10th. Now he's come right back up. In fact, he's done it twice after these pit stops and worked his way back into the field. It's a good run for Benson. Now this group right here trailed the leaders by 9 3/10 seconds. And look at this. Here's Irvan.
Dale
Jarrett.
Dale Jarrett's made a few corrections on his chassis. Every time he stops, they work on it. He's just as fast as Ernie Irvan now. You see them both going around the racetrack basically equal for the last 20 laps, Chad.
I think Dale probably heard us talking about how fast the 28 car was, and he said, now, wait a second, you guys, I want equal billing here, and he decided to pick up the pace a little bit.
But the front of the field is stabilized here. It stays at 2 3/10 seconds between Martin and first, and this Irvan-Jarrett combination just behind them stays right about, well, now it's changing a little. This last lap, the report is it's down to 1.9, so maybe they've turned it up a notch on the Yates cars.
Traffic can have a lot to do with that. If you run into slower traffic and you get down in the corner and you have to roll out the throttle and maybe take a wide line through the corner, that can be the difference. We'll see in 2 or 3 laps from now when they get out of traffic whether it's really closing in or not on Martin. He looks very fast there.
At the last 10 laps, it's been right in that 2.3, 2.4 area, and traffic certainly does make a big difference, even on a 2.5-mile track like this where you've got some running room. We'll show you that interval between Mark Martin and the number 6, the Jack Roush car in first, the Valvoline Ford. And then you take a look a little further back here. There you have 2nd and 3rd position. Rudd stays 4th, Shepherd 5th. Benson is in 6th, Jeff Bodine 7th, Rusty Wallace 8th.
I have a comment.
Yes.
Traffic has nothing to do with it. The 28 and the 88 right now are closing in on Mark Martin. They're closing maybe 8-10 car lengths a lap right now.
Yeah, and now it's down to 1.7. It's gone from 2.4, 2.3, 1.7 now, and they are reducing the distance between the Roush car, still looking for its first win of the season, and Ernie Irvan, who's going for 2 in a row, currently 12th in points. And wouldn't that be sensational if he wins back-to-back here today? There are the 2 points leaders, the 5 and the 3. And they're running nose to tail, 14th and 15th position. Terry Labonte, number 5, and Dale Earnhardt in the 15th position, just behind him. Tailing along there is number 90. And giving that a good shot today, Dick Trickle. Trickle is well back. He's lost a lap or two and he's being shown in 32nd, 33rd position right now. Average speed is at 152.3 on Mark Martin out in front. All-time Pocono 500-mile record 144, set by Alan Kowicki. Coming around a complete 97 laps, 242.5 miles, braking toward halfway. And look at first place. Mark Martin had him covered. He just put a lap on his teammate Musgrave back in 23rd position. But that's not helping. Here's Ernie Irvan knocking on the door.
It was 7.6. Now it's 1.2 inches. As he moves up out of turn 1 there, you can see what a rocket ship. Great drive down the straightaway. Now Ernie will just go right by him going in the tunnel turn up here.
He's not only knocking on that door, he just beat that door down and went right through it.
And the two of them are about to lap Bill Elliott in 22nd position. Gee, what a way to close out the first half of this one. What about pit strategy coming up here? Let's go to Steve Burns.
Well, Ken, this tire tells the whole story. This is Mark Martin's pit. This is their 3rd set of tires. The first 2 were stickers. Now we see the 3rd set, scuff tires. They said the buildup on the stickers is too much, so they want to use scuff tires. Dick Berggren?
And down here, Ricky Rudd is also using
They've been putting on sticker tires all day long. 4 scuff tires up here. Just talked to Larry McReynolds. I said, Larry, why are you putting scuff tires on? He says, just testing the waters. They ran awful good in practice. Want to see our car seems to run better on a longer run. We're going to see if it's better for late in the race right now.
Thanks, Mike. Now let's try to get Dick Berggren. Dick?
Well, down in my area, Morgan Shepherd is currently running 5th, Ken. He's going to be putting on 4 sticker tires next time. 3 wide on the racetrack. Oh, boy, hang on. Meanwhile, Jeff Bodine has been running nothing but scuffs, and that's the same with Ricky Rudd. Rudd doesn't even have a brand new tire in his whole pit area.
$10,000 to the leader of this lap, Dick Berggren, and as they come back, Mark Martin had a hole card. Here he comes. He's pushed it right back in front.
Wow.
Thank you for 10 grand.
Wow, you talk about playing with 4 aces and making everybody think you had a chance. Now you see Ernie Irvan making a move back, but that tells you that Ernie Irvan may be a little stronger than we were actually aware of. He made that look pretty good, but they were passing Bill Elliott there, and I think he checked up just a little bit. And of course, Mark Martin had a great run.
Right, I think Ernie got held up a little bit there by Bill Elliott going a lap down, and that gave Mark a chance to go by. But I'll tell you what I saw is that we came up there. Here we go again. This is for the lead.
Yeah, that last one was the taste of money, and here come both those Yates cars.
We saw
28 and 88.
We saw Dale Jarrett that last lap as we went into turn 3 here get on the binders hard because he had almost a shot on Ernie there. He got on the brakes hard, and we could have had a disaster right there.
And those two hitched up. That freight train is its own separate railroad out there today. Through the first 16 races, Mark Martin has only led 78 laps this year. Today, in this event alone, he's led 82. We may see him right back out there again. But for the moment, it is the story. It is a Ford story. First, second, third, these top runners all carrying those Ford colors and looking good.
I think Robert Yates is feeling proud right now. There's his 2 cars in command of this race, and they've been running strong all day long.
Let's go back to this business, though, about these major teams, these super teams with 2 and 3 cars that are beginning to really control Winston Cup racing. How does anyone feel about that?
It's mathematics. If you think about it, you can test 7 times, okay, with 1 car. If you have 3 cars, that gives you so many more test programs that you can run, and if you share the data, look what it does for the teams. And in the Hendricks case, every time they find something that helps, it goes to all 3 cars.
Chad Little, you're going to come up onto this next year and run that John Deere car in the entire Winston Cup Series. How do you feel about playing against those odds?
Well, you know, as the super teams grow more and more, it's more and more difficult to bridge that gap. but that doesn't mean that it's not impossible to do. You know, and like Buddy alluded to, it's the factors that the teams are focusing in on. They're able to concentrate more on that effort. It's, as you see, Dale Jarrett just made a pass on Ernie Irvin there for the lead. They're able to concentrate more and more on those factors that are becoming so important, the research and development, the motor program. They're sharing this information. As long as they continue to share, they're going to grow.
24 and 7 also battling for 8th position, Jeff Bodine and Jeff Gordon. And in the battle of the Jeffs, it's Gordon winning this one. He'll pull up and take the 8th position, sending Jeff Bodine back to 9th in the QVC number 7.
It takes some pretty strong leadership, though, to make a multi-car team work. We've seen as many fail as we've seen succeed over the last 7 or 8 years. So it's not a given thing if you start a multi-car team that it's going to rise to the top. It takes a lot of effort from everybody involved.
Well, for certain, that's true with Jack Roush's team and the number of cars he has. And this has been a struggle for him this year.
You know, it's been a struggle. They've had a lot of things go wrong, though. Mark Martin, anywhere he goes, could win. I think Jack Roush right now is just going through what all race teams go through, a little bit of problem area, but they can win and they will win. I still believe the multi-car teams have an advantage as far as the dates that they can test and the data that they can get together.
Good information, Buddy Baker. We're ready for the MasterCard mid-race report. This mid-race report brought to you by MBNA NASCAR MasterCard, the official card of NASCAR. There you see it, 9 leaders. Lead changes 13 times. There you see the lap leaders that we've seen out here today. Mark Martin dominating a lot of this event. And those are the cars officially out, Jeff Gordon and Darrell Waltrip.
I think you meant Jeff Green and Darrell Waltrip.
Jeff Green, yes, indeed. Show the world you're a NASCAR fan when you carry the MBNA NASCAR MasterCard. Call 1-800-34-NASCAR to request the only card with your favorite driver right on the card. Get yours by calling 1-800-34-NASCAR. Take a look at this battle up in here. Here is Earnhardt coming in. Sticker tires going to come on this number 3 right now. This at lap 104, and here comes Jarrett in the 88 in as well. Dick Berggren down there with one of these leaders, number 88. Dick?
Dale Jarrett on his way in with the number 88 car. He won this race last year. Jack Lewis is going to change the front tires. Brad Parrott is going to change the rear tires. Mike Forrest, the jack man, right front tire gets away from him a little bit. Steve Allen's the guy on the gas. Not that Steve Allen, the gas man Steve Allen. 4-tire change for Jarrett. Tires going on, and that's supposed to discuss. Top of the world, not the worst. 1905.
Oh, and Earnhardt has killed his motor, and they're having to push it to get started.
And it won't start. Burns is there.
Yeah, now they're backing Dale Earnhardt's car up. Crew members from the Burger King team and the McDonald's team, as well as Tony Glover, came to try and jump him off. As you can see, they're pushing it back. They think it might be the ignition.
He was in 15th position when he came on pit road. The 28 car is in, and Mike Wallace has the story.
Joey Knuckles dove over the wall with Doug Yates carrying the tires and Raymond Fox on the rear. 4 tires stop, sticker tires just go around. It just looks like a pretty routine stop at the moment. Guys are back around to the left side now through run. Already a water bottle. He drank a little bit, tossed her back out. Left side tires are on. Joey Knuckles finishing up. Left rear coming down. Jack down. Already back and going.
23.6, Mike. That was a good stop. Good call from Mike Wallace. With us today down on pit road, being joined by Dr. Dick Berggren of Stock Car Racing Magazine and our own Steve Burns. I mean, a lot of inside story on pit road, and Dick Berggren is down there in Terry Labonte's pit as the 5 rolls in. Terry Labonte in 13th spot, coming to a stop.
And Ricky Rudd just went roaring by, Ken, and they changed strategy in Rudd's pit, and they put 4 rather than 2 tires on it. Labonte's going to leave the hood down. Apparently, they're not going to try to fool with that throttle at all. Apparently, that problem has pretty well gone away. Meanwhile, Mark Martin has just gone down pit road, and he's headed to Steve Burns. Take it, Steve.
Dick Bergen, here he comes as Sterling Marlin heads out. Now we might take a look. They might make a spoiler adjustment. We heard to give him some more. Yeah, they're pushing the spoiler up right now to give him more downforce. They're changing the right side tires, and again, these are scuffs. Scuff tires that have already been used, not stickers. Now they're going to the left side. One can of gas is already in, about to put the second one in. It takes the tape off the front. Now, what we want to do is find out from Steve Meal why they decided to use scuffed tires. Let's see if we can get a word with him.
We'll get back down there in a moment, see if we can find Steve Meal and find out what the story is on car number 6. The fewest cautions at Pocono was 1 in 1978 for 3 laps. We've had 1 caution period thus far today. It has been 4 laps. Let's go back to Steve Burns.
Steve Meal, you decided to take 4 scuffs that time instead of stickers. What's your strategy?
We started the race on scuffs because they impound your qualifying tires. We saw pretty good buildups. The next stop we put on stickers and the buildups just went crazy. So that maybe the stickers are a little unpredictable. Goodyear's got a real good tire. You don't knock any speed out of them by scuffing them. We scuffed 3.5 sets yesterday. We think our buildups will be better. One of our problems is we run real good right out of the box, and then the last 10 or 15 laps of a segment, we're slower than the 28 and 88. We hope we've cured that by putting on scuffs. Typically, scuffs run better over longer distances.
You know, what they're trying to allude to there is he wants to get as consistent as he can. And he said when we put stickers on, the tire pressure went crazy. The tire pressure builds up as you run on stickers, and they found that it's a little bit more consistent if they put the scuffs on.
What they're talking about there is absolutely new tires get such a grip, they build up a tremendous amount of pressure, and you never lose that pressure once it builds the heat up in the tire. With scuffs, you don't hold that well.
Morgan Shepherd had inherited the first position. Now we have Johnny Benson doing the same, and he comes on to pit road, making his tire change, giving up that first place spot. And that would pretty much put us through the rotation among those leaders. Johnny Benson, who had a chance to get out in front and lead for a while here today. Great moment for Benson and the folks from Bahari Racing, that Pennzoil Racing team. Earnhardt now back in 30th position. Dale Earnhardt back in 30th, and 88 has gone back into the lead. That's Dale Jarrett with Mark Martin in second. Ernie Irvin will be third, and we'll have, let's see, in fourth, Ward Burton. Ward Burton's up to fourth, and we'll have Rusty Wallace running fifth.
Welcome back live to Pocono International Raceway on TBS, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. The Miller 500 in the hands at the moment of last year's winner of this race, Dale Jarrett. We've been tracking fuel mileage all day because that's how Dale Jarrett won here 1 year ago on fuel mileage. Interesting, Mark Martin, who's led so much of this race, went 36 laps between pit stops last time around. The teams have just stopped. Ernie Irvin, who's been so strong today, went only 33 laps. Dale Jarrett, we had him at 34 laps. Will Mark Martin have an advantage? Probably not, because if you do the arithmetic, all 3 of those teams can get by with just 2 more fuel stops. Now, Dale Earnhardt had problems during his pit stop. Killed the motor. Steve Burns is in the 3 pit.
Guys, initially they thought Dale had flooded the motor. You saw guys from other teams trying to push him off. They then switched ignition boxes, and Dale said the car's running fine, but Chad Little, you know he lost a lot of track position when he had this problem.
Well, not only they lost a ton of track position from the motor dive, but remember, Earnhardt gets first pick as being the Winston Cup champion. They usually pick their pit furthest down pit road. They tried to push the car forward. It wouldn't start. They can't push it past the last pit stall. That's a NASCAR rule. So what they have to do, they had to push it then backwards to get it to start. It took a lot of extra time, and Dale lost a lap.
30th position. Here's Lake Speed going underneath that car, number 3. And it's a hold on and hang on for Dale Earnhardt this afternoon. Lake Speed in 10th spot, and up in that lead lap, the average speed staying at 153 miles an hour. They're just blasting that old record to pieces here. 142.5 for this July race. Darrell Waltrip set that, what? Way back, 78 set that for? And the average, the fastest race ever run here was 144. That was in the spring race, Alan Kowicki's final win, 1992. 13 cars remain in the lead lap at the present time as you watch Lake Speed having a terrific day, staying up there in 10th spot. And the big story at the moment, Ford's continuing to dominate this race. You have Jarrett, Martin, Irvin, Wallace in the front 4. Then you've got the Chevrolet of Gordon in 5th. There's Dale Jarrett out in front. Then you've got in 7th, Jeff Bodine, the Ford of Morgan Shepherd in 8th. The Pontiac of Benson is having a great run in that 9th position. And Lake Speed, who continues to stay up here in 10th, puts Ford Mark on another slot in the top 10.
You see Mark Martin there in 2nd spot. He's moving up on Jarrett just a little bit as we go along here. You see him coming right into the frame there. He passed Wally Dallenbach going down in the tunnel turn. I think right now Mark Martin is doing what he's done every time after a restart. He's very, very fast after he makes a stop. Then Ernie Irvin in the 88 car gets stronger later on in the run.
See John Andretti just in front of him there. He's running 18th on the field.
And he's in danger of going down a lap as well.
Only one caution thus far. It came early, and it was a big caution. Big number down here in turn number 3. Maybe we'll get a chance to show it to you again if you joined us late today. Look at Dale Jarrett's stats here as far as this race is concerned. Right up in front. And remember that Martin is right there in 2nd.
Well, he's gaining a tremendous amount each lap right now. I think what Jarrett has, he has a very, very tight setup on that car, and as he goes along, the racetrack actually comes to him, where Mark Martin's car is a little freer through the corner, and he's very fast on new tires.
Showing 116 laps now complete. 290 miles are down. Record pace they're running it at. Jarrett gets a bit of a breather here in that traffic. As we mentioned earlier, there was one caution. And let's take another look at what happened as we just got this race underway today.
You see Jimmy Spencer in the yellow car here, just under Jeff Gordon as they start in the corner. And I don't know whether they touched or not. You could see the 24 go a little sideways. There goes Spencer backwards into the wall. Then there's a chain reaction just behind them.
And that, folks, was our only caution today. That happened on lap number 4.
But it was what happened just behind that ruined the number 43 for Petty Enterprises. Bobby Hamilton's car just destroyed. Somehow they got it out here and ran a few more laps to try to collect some points.
As well as Darrell Waltrip.
As well as Darrell Waltrip.
And Jeff Green.
And Jeff Green.
Thank you for explaining that. I didn't want everybody to think I'd lost my mind.
Well, everybody pretty much knows.
Yeah. Here comes the 28 car out the back straightaway of Ernie Irvin. He's picking him off now. He's back under Speedwell, but he lost some time on his pit stop.
As Jarrett stays out in front, remember, he's going for 2 in a row. He won this race last year, driving that number 28 for Robert Yates. 4th in points, 96 behind Jeff Gordon. He's had 3 straight top 10 finishes, the man up in front of number 88, but Ernie Irvin, what a story. At New Hampshire International, and what a story about New Hampshire International Speedway. New England is going to get its 2nd Winston Cup race next year on September 14th. And of course, the new Texas Speedway is going to open next April 5th and 6th. Baker, that's where you're supposed to say the ticket office is open today.
Absolutely, it's open today. Get your tickets now, because
April
if you
5th
don't, you'll miss that event.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a great one, a 1.5 miles in Texas. Here comes Ernie Irvin scooting down to the inside, putting a lap on Andretti and Musgrave. We'll take another break here at lap 118 and then be back with more of the 23rd annual Miller 500 at Pocono.
Race fans, Budweiser asks who won? February 24th, 1991, Richmond International Raceway. Davey Allison in car 28 started on the pole, but the unsponsored 7 of Alan Kulwicki showed he had the early muscle. Knocking the competition out of his way was the number 3 of Dale Earnhardt, starting from the 19th position. Ricky Rudd ran strong in his Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet. Quick pit work also kept Harry Gant at the front of the pack. But who won? Here are the list of contenders. The answer is coming up. Richmond's 400-lap classic was won on this day by Dale Earnhardt. Alan Kulwicki led 7 times during the first 104 laps. but a pit road penalty spoiled his fine run. Also racing with the leaders all day long was Harry Gant. But the battle was between Earnhardt and Rudd, and in the end, the legendary number 3 held on for a 1.5 car length victory. Who Won was brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. For that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud.
122 laps complete at Pocono, and we've had another lead change, our 19th of the day. Mark Martin has taken over. Let's show you how he made the move to get to the point just a few moments ago. This is coming through the tunnel turn. Martin to the inside of Dale Jarrett down the straightaway, and Martin showing just how strong that Roush Thunderbird is. Ken Squire, he told me the same thing yesterday. I know he told you that's the best race car he's ever saddled up here at Pocono.
Funny, this morning, Jack Roush was saying, yeah, he said it was one of the 2 best cars that he's had out of the shop. But boy, is he a rocket in this thing. Look at Mark Martin. Just pull away, gets himself about 2 car lengths. Dale Earnhardt is up in 25th position. He's running 1 lap down. Earnhardt might have been a winner there in that Bud report, but he's sure having his problems today. Jimmy Spencer about to go another lap down.
We haven't talked about Jeff Gordon for a while. He was running back in about 12th to 15th place. He's now up to 5th. They really figured something out on that last fuel stop.
He's closing on Rudd in 4th. Hey, if the race was to end right now, you got those points figured up, buddy?
I love that. Those points if the race was to end now, you'd have a riot.
Well, it's more than halfway. Didn't really start home. Who would want to miss the end of this one the way it's developing? There's how the points would be if it concluded at this moment. Terry Labonte would hold on to 1st and increase his lead over Earnhardt. Gordon would stay in 3rd and Jarrett in 4th. Ricky Rudd would be 5th, 338 back. Still trying to make a run on those points. And top, 7 positions easily. The kind of things that happen out here in Winston Cup racing. Gordon creeping ever closer. Almost perched on the rear deck of number 10, Ricky Rudd in 4th spot. Back up front, there's Ricky Craven about to go a lap down. He's in 17th. Ricky Craven in 17th, feeling the heat from Mark Martin and Dale Jarrett. Speaking of heat, ready for a burger, buddy?
Brought to you by Gladiator and Universal Luxury Bands, the official bands of tracks, teams, and drivers throughout the NASCAR world. Call 1-800-445-2825 for a dealer near you.
Sold out house 2 days after that race 5 weeks ago. And well over 100,000 people enjoying the Miller 500 in its 23rd edition. As you watch Mark Martin, his persistency paying off. The 19th lead change put him back in front. Dale Jarrett, last year's winner, driving the H, number 28, stays right there in 2nd spot. And that man right there, as you take a look at the point lead, Terry Labonte in the number 5, scooting down into turn number 1. He is about 1.5 seconds away from being lapped. Terry Labonte running in 16th position. These 2 leaders are just mowing him down.
They're mowing them down, but the 6 car is working very hard. I saw Mark Martin just then make a real good save on the 6 car coming off the turn 3. Got very loose. You see Jarrett right on his back bumper. That's not helping matters.
On the pole at 168.4 was Mark Martin. The record here, 169.7, belongs to Jeff Gordon. That Ford, all of those Fords have been undeniable since the outset of this event. We're 128 laps into the Miller 500 this afternoon. That would mark it at 320 miles and only 1 caution so far. And Terry Labonte has fallen back into the same lap with Earnhardt. Dave Marcus going to lap down. They say there's a little smoke creeping out of the back of car number 10 here. Ricky Rudd going down into turn number 1 with Gordon after him. They are in 4th and 5th position.
Whatever it is minimal. I tell you cannot see it from the camera angle.
Dick Berggren can tell us more, buddy.
Well, no, but I'm going to ask the question of Richard Broom. He's the crew chief. Richard, what's the smoke from?
Well, we got a little fender rub on the right front that's got everybody all nervous. Nothing to worry about.
Well, they're not nervous down here. NASCAR's been down here, and there have been a couple of radio reports, but you say the car's all right.
Yeah, the car's fine.
Oh.
It's 5 year time right now.
Okay, they're very calm in the 10 pit.
What usually happens there is Jeff Gordon comes over the radio and says, hey, the 10 car is leaking some oil. I need you to go down to his pit and let him know he needs to pit right now.
1 drop a year.
That's what they used to call him, buddy. 1 drop a year, baby.
That's it. You got it.
Look at Wallace in that number 2 continuing to close in here. Rusty Wallace is in 6th position. He's got some more running to do before this one's over.
Rusty's been kind of quiet today, and usually when Rusty's quiet, that means at the end of the race, he'll probably be in the hunt to win.
Reminds me of a race he won in Michigan. Everybody was kind of talking about the guys that were leading all day, and all of a sudden Rusty Wallace was up front, and he made it stick. He run a very, very heady race, and you can't ever count this guy out. He can drive a race car, got a great team behind him, tremendous stuff. I mean, he could win today, too.
I know Mike Agie's Rusty Wallace's engine builder, and they've got something figured out on gas mileage, because I think it was earlier this year that Michigan came down to gas mileage, and Rusty came out on top there.
Exactly right.
Here's Ernie Irvin. And there you see, as you look a little further back, Rudd, Gordon, Wallace coming through right there. Give you a pretty good look of the rest of the field and how they're situated as we get down to lap 131. Let's get another fuel check right now. Dr. Berggren?
Well, Chad Little, you were talking about Rusty Wallace and fuel mileage. They had calculated this morning that other people had better fuel mileage than they did. But I'm wondering if anyone has a better car, because this indeed is the same car that won at Michigan in June of this year.
You can't nod your head, Chad.
Yeah, let's just talk. You don't want to be wrong, right? Middle of the road Chad here.
Martin and Jarrett first and second.
Well, I think Mark right now is doing everything he can just to hold his car. He's really a little bit loose. You can see it when he starts off at turn 3 towards the main straightaway several times. I think Jarrett's kind of enjoying watching him do this.
Look at Dale Jarrett. And remember that 5 weeks ago, he had a big one on this racetrack. Dale, you injured ribs, your knee just a month ago and a week plus at this race. Are you still feeling any effects from this as you get ready for today?
I'm fine. It's nothing that bothers me in the car whatsoever. It doesn't affect my performance. You know, if it's bothered anything, it's that, you know, I can't get back into a physical routine and working out or anything like that. So, you know, my stamina is pretty good still, but not what I would like for it to be because of the heat that we get to at this time of year.
Dale Jarrett continuing to hold on out here in second spot. Ernie Irvin's in third, and Mark Martin, Mr. Persistency, staying in front in the 23rd annual Miller 500. Stay with us.
Welcome back to NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on TBS, the Miller 500 here at Pocono International Raceway. The leader is Mark Martin, and you're looking back at the guy challenging him, Dale Jarrett, as they come toward turn 3 of this three-cornered racetrack at Pocono. Pit stops will be coming up very soon, and there's some concern about tires. We've been talking about teams taking 2 tires or 4, or whether they'd go with scuffed tires or brand new tires, stickers as we call them. Well, Goodyear, we're told, is trying to find tires for the front runners. Tires could well be an issue before this one comes to a close in another 63 laps. Let's get more from Steve Burns.
Well, with Robin Pemberton, the crew chief for Rusty Wallace, and Robin tells us to hurry up because they're going to pit soon. Robin, a lot of the teams, Mark Martin included, are putting on scuff tires. You guys are putting on stickers. Why?
Well, we run stickers all the time, and we don't really seem to haven't had a problem with them. Right now, maybe a scuff tire deal would work better for us. We just, you know, we'll have to wait and see. You know, we were real good on about this after this third pit stop. You know, we went from 19 seconds back to about 9 seconds back. So we'll have to wait and see what happens towards the end.
Okay, Robin, thank you. Let's go to Mike Wallace.
Well, here in the 28 pits, talking with Larry McReynolds, seems like he's being pretty honest with me here today. They tried scuff tires. They were faster at first, but slowed down at the end. Next pit stop, expect a 28 car for 4 stickers. It makes an overall faster run for them. Back up the booth.
62 laps Now to the finish. 345 miles have been completed, Chad Little.
Well, I just wanted to say, for those people who, you know, we're talking about stickers and scuffs. When we talk about stickers, those are brand new tires that still have a label on them. That's why we call them stickers. When we talk about scuffs, that's a brand new tire that the teams bolt on. They might go out there and just run 1, maybe 2 laps, and that's all a scuff is. So really, it's a brand new tire. All they do is they take off the label, they run a couple laps, heat it up, and then let it cure.
And curing right now into a great war, 30-7, side by side. That's Jeff Bodine in the 7, Johnny Benson, the pride of Michigan, right there in number 30, giving it a good run and getting Jeff Bodine this time. So Benson picks himself up another slot. That'll put him into 8th, drop Jeff Bodine to 9th, and you saw Morgan Shepherd having a dandy day with a Remington number 75 in 7th. But isn't it great to see Morgan Shepherd have such an excellent run as he is here at Pocono? What a grand race. They're 10 miles an hour over the record. Only 1 caution so far. And here comes Benson looking for Morgan Shepherd. Scoots right down through, thank you.
I think he had that one pretty well planned there.
7th place.
And also talking about the tires a little more, when you heat the tire up, it cures it. And that actually makes it a little bit harder, so it does not get as hot as fast as the sticker tire.
Thank you. Appreciate your help.
There you have it.
Baker and I had a chance to go to Louisville yesterday.
Great race, huh?
Yeah, we had a truck race down there. Hornaday won, but when it was over, Baker said there were a couple of guys out there that if you were playing golf, we'd call them sand traps.
They probably would have a lot worse to say about me.
Let's go back on pit road here as 88 comes in. Here's Dale Jarrett on the pit road, and Dr. Dick Bergen's waiting.
Winner of last year's race on his way in right now. Crew ready to jump over the wall, and over the wall they are. Jarrett gets a quick drink of water. Right side tires going on. In the stickers versus new tires, he is taking 4 new tires, Jarrett is. Right side is all done. Around the left side, Mike Ford's jack is under the car. Smoke flying everywhere now. Having a little bit of trouble with the left rear tire. That's the lower part of the tire. Good stop, 19.33.
Or 20 seconds by our watch up here.
Give or take. Give or take. I always hate to call those exact car lengths, so get you wrong every time. Bobby Hillen's on pit road in number 77. Bobby Hillen just arriving in 18th position. What are we showing? 11, 12 cars in the lead lap. There you see Bobby Hillen, the Jasper car, and the hood's going up, and here's Ernie Irvin in, running in 2nd to Mark Martin. Let's go to Mike Wallace.
Well, they're just a normal pit stop, it looks like right now. Joey Knuckles and the guys over on the right side, Ray Fox and Doug Yates again. It's going to be a 4-tire sticker stop. You know, we reported on it earlier. They feel the sticker run is a longer and faster overall run. The guys are doing good. Left and rear tires going on. Left front's done. Have a little problem on the left rear tire. Car done and gone. We're going to Dick.
A 2-tire change for Ricky Running. Right front corner of that car. Run in and out in 13.71 seconds. NASCAR was right there looking at the right front.
He's out, and here is Irvin just behind him as they come back onto pit road. And Mark Martin, your leader, is on pit road. Steve Burns is waiting for him. Long pit road. Here he is, just about there.
They have a speed limit they have to run down pit road. For those of you that are just first time ever watching a race here, they have like a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit down pit road, and that's for the safety of these guys you see over the wall there.
Steve?
Yeah, they're going to make a 4-tire change and put on scuff tires again that Chad Little just talked about. You know, one thing we haven't mentioned, all these teams have performed these pit stops almost flawlessly. There's so much pressure under green to nail a pit stop, and Mark Martin dead on away again, an excellent pit stop.
That's the difference in this form of racing than almost any other stock car race, almost any other racing.
Remember, pit stops under green, time-wise, are even more important, too, because when the cars out on the racetrack are averaging 165 miles an hour plus, a second can be as much as 250 feet. So, you can see the difference. If you have a pit stop a couple seconds quicker, you're a couple football fields ahead.
Yeah, and you flounder in all that frenzied action down there, and it can cost you the national title at the end of the year. Just a couple of a second, 300 feet, that's all it takes. Look at Benson now in the number 30. As those leaders have pitted, he's got himself back into the lead another time. We saw Shepard and Bodine both on pit road at the same time. They have been running in 5th and 6th position. They have both pitted. In fact, almost all the leaders now have taken the opportunity to come in. Benson slightly out of sync, running just a little longer here in the Bahari Pennzoil number 30. Puts that Pontiac back in front. That's the second time this afternoon, third time that Johnny Benson's had a crack at first place. .154 plus. One caution if you're just joining TBS today. So as Benson continues to lead and the rest of the field continues to make these pit stops, let's go back to the STP Pit Center. Rick Benjamin.
Ken, it's time to check the Week in Racing, brought to you by Auto Week, America's only auto enthusiast weekly. And we're going to show you some highlights from yesterday's ARCA competition here at Pocono International Raceway. Tim Steele in the HS Dye 16 was the story of the afternoon. Steele able to handle the field with ease. He led 60 of the 100 laps yesterday afternoon, a race you saw here on TBS, taking the checkered flag to win his 7th race in the ARCA Series this year. He leads the point standings by 660 markers right now. Tim Steele, the winner here at Pocono yesterday. Call 1-800-232-1522 now for a 52-week subscription to Auto Week at the special television price of just $19.95. It's the lowest price ever. Every week, Auto Week is first with all the inside news of racing, personalities, driving, impressions, everything. Call now for Auto Week, 1-800-232-1522. This offer is limited, so do not delay. 144 laps on the board at Pocono International Raceway. Johnny Benson Jr. holding the point in his Pontiac. Back with more after this. Ernie Irvan capped his improbable comeback by winning last Sunday at New Hampshire International Speedway. If you'd like to know more about the Ernie Irvan comeback story, pick up your phone, call 1-800-385-3087. Order a copy of Miracles Happen, just $14.95.
Back here at Pocono in the Miller 500 with 147 of 200 laps now complete. You have Mark Martin in the lead. They've made another circuit of pit stops with Jarrett and Rudd in second and third. Johnny Benson is one of the big stories here today. He led last week at New Hampshire. He's been leading here today, and with more on Johnny Benson, currently in 7th spot. Let's go to Mike Wallace.
Well, I'm down here in Chuck Ryder's Pennzoil number 30 pit. Chuck's just pumped up. He's smiling from ear to ear. They just come into a 13-second stop, leading the race. Your daughter's birthday today, I understand. Tell us about your shot today, Chuck.
Well, first, happy birthday, Ginger, but listen, Johnny Benson is one heck of a driver. The crew is 100% behind him. We appreciate Pennzoil's support. We're going to have a good day. We're just very, very happy. This is such a competitive league. It's nice to be up front.
It definitely is. What Chuck's saying about the competitiveness, they've struggled off and on this year. But, boy, they're leading this race, running good. Great pit stops. The crew's pumped up. And definitely the car owner's pumped up.
Let's get down to Dick Berger.
To you.
Well, Jeff Gordon and his crew have done just about everything they possibly can to have a good day here at Pocono. They didn't qualify well, qualified all the way back in 15th. This morning in the garage, they had that whole car torn apart, changed the rear end, transmission. Look at this, in the pits, they've covered their fuel with this insulating blanket to try to keep it cool. And that's probably worth, what, about 1,000th of a horsepower. They're doing everything they can to help Jeff Gordon get to the front, Ken.
Jeff Gordon is doing everything in his power to get it there, but in 5th place, right, there's time for him to get up there. Meanwhile, look at this. Here's Irvin in 4th spot, and Jeff Gordon, or rather, and Ricky Rudd in the 10. That's been a swap around for a while. Irvin in front of Rudd for the moment, and you see Morgan Shepherd's Ford on pit road. Let's go back down to Dick.
Now Morgan's here, and he has just taken outside tires. That's all. Jerry Kinnan, was that a scheduled stop?
Well, the right rear was vibrating a little bit. We didn't know if it was equalized or the wheel was left loose, so we, instead of taking a chance and tearing the car up, we decided to come on in.
Oh boy, Morgan Shepherd had been running right up front all day, Ken Squire, until that.
Yep, that was 7 laps since the last stop. That was certainly unscheduled. That's going to hurt Morgan today after such a fine performance. Morgan Shepherd falling back some. And you're riding again with the Budweiser car and Schrader, who's up to 14th. Remember, he's not in that lead lap. We have 12 machines left in the lead lap. Buddy?
This is what it looks like coming into pit road. You see the white line there. You stay on the outside until you get close to your pits. Now you see it comes into the inside lane.
When is his luck going to change? Such a good driver. Boy, those windshields are taking account of today, aren't they? You can see they cleaned off 2/3 of that one.
The real important part of that windshield is directly in front of the driver, though. That right side being a little messed up there does not hurt a thing.
It's what they took out of there. Getting ready to take a break. Our thoughts today are for Fred Miller. Motorcycle accident. It's cost us a great respected motor builder for folks like Tommy Houston. Ride with a leader here at Pocono. This is Mark Martin, trying to secure his first victory of 1996 in Winston Cup racing, number 17 of the season, for $1.2 at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Martin has the Jack Roush Ford in front. He has a 1 4/10 second advantage once again over Dale Jarrett in second, and a healthy advantage over Ernie Irvin. Now, how did that happen, buddy? He's about 10 seconds up.
I really don't know. I was just asking some of our pit guys how Ernie got that far back, because on the racetrack he's just as fast as the leaders, but he is just a little bit back in the pack right now. But I tell you, Steve Neal has worked on this car of Mark Martin's every time they stop. They have that thing dialed in. He was real quick on restarts a while back, but now he seems to be going from wire to wire in between stops, running well.
9th and 10th are on the screen for a moment there with Bodine and Derek Cope and Allison's Babcock car. And here again, you'll see some making up to be done with 155 of the 200 laps now complete. Ernie Irvin's got to get his shoe hot one more time. He's made up a lot of distance, been as much as 2 miles per hour quicker than anybody on the track. Can he do it still another time? Rally the forces and bring that car back to the front. That's the car, or the numbers and so forth, that won a year ago with Dale Jarrett at the controls. And Rudd, having a terrific run, stays right there in 4th spot. John Benson, we saw him on pit road. The Grand Rapids, Michigan racer is now being shown in 7th spot. His best finish for a rider team, or the best finish, more properly put, for a rider team, was Michael Waltrip's second back in 1988 on this track. Well, they just lapped Mayfield. Leader just lapped Mayfield, and look at this move. As the 10 tightens up on Irvin. Look at this, side by side, and it's going to be number 10. That's Ricky Rudd right there for 3rd. Irvin drops to 4th.
Ricky Rudd took on 2 tires, and it seems to be working for him. I think that could play out towards the end of the race, especially if it goes green the whole way.
Mike Wallace can update us more on this story.
Well, we're in the 28th pit of Ernie Irvin. I was talking with Larry McReynolds. Says, you know, ask him what had happened, why the car seemed to be backed up a little bit. He's not really sure. He says the car is just not gripping quite as well as what it was. They put scuff tire, or put sticker tires on the last time. They believe they're going to go back to scuff tires, seem to run a little bit better. They got 19 guys in this pit area right here working hard to make that thing run better.
How many over the wall these days, folks? 7. Here you see Ernie Irvin back around Ricky Rudd. That's for 3rd. In 5th is Gordon. 6th is Rusty Wallace. 7th is Benson. Lake Speed is in 8th. 9th is Jeff Bodine. Derek Cope is in 10th. And then you have Sterling Marlin on the tail end of this lead lap in 11th slot.
This 24 car, Jeff Gordon, now we've talked about him being off all day today, but if you notice, he's moving right in on the third and fourth place car right now. Jeff Gordon is really making a move. He's right behind the 21 car there, Michael Waltrip, as they head into the tunnel turn. I think Jeff Gordon is as fast as the leader right now. He just has bad track position. Caution could really change things in that front bunch right now.
Martin stays first, Jarrett second, Irvin, Rudd, Gordon. That covers your front 5. Try to keep you up to date with our graphics here. We're about a lap behind, but we're as close as we can get them when you've got 2 or 3 laps among the leaders. Got 11 cars in that lead lap.
Boy, when I get tongue wobble, everybody gets it.
No. We were on each other yesterday about that truck race. By the way, Jack Roush tomorrow is going to do some open testing here. Joe Gibbs is going to try a new Pontiac. Trying to put a lap on Michael Waltrip right now is Jeff Gordon. And Roush is testing trucks out at IRP. He's taking 2 trucks out there. So they're really beginning to dig into 1997 in that truck series, which is going to open down at Disney next year. $450,000 race in mid-January for the NASCAR Craftsman trucks. Take a look here at the leader. Number 6, Martin. Pit strategy, 1 more stop to make. Let's check in with Steve Burns as to what the strategy may be here.
Oh, Ken, I think we know what's going to play out. We heard Steve Meal, the crew chief, say, Martin, come in with 20 laps to go. We're going to take right sides only and take 12 gallons of gasoline. You can see they have the right side tires ready to go. But look over here, just in case some cautions come, they have gotten the tires from Jeff Burton. You can see 99 here, it's upside down, but these tires came off Jeff Burton's car. Of course, you know, he's in the garage area. Again, an example of a multi-car team working together.
Mark Martin had a 2nd place finish at Sonoma. That's his best, and there is a caution on the track. Yellow is out. There's debris over on the tunnel turn. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Pocono. Mark Martin has just finished his pit stop. He took 2 tires, but the gun went bad on the right rear tire, so that slowed down his stop. 161 laps are down, 97.5 miles to go. Hey, let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, Dale Jarrett took 4 tires. They were brand new tires. The question here is whether they can go all the way. It is doubtful. They're going to have to go, what, a long, long way on a tank of gas. They were not happy here when that yellow flag came out. Mike Wallace.
Well, we're in the 28 pits with Ernie Irvin's team. Just a typical pit stop. 4 sticker tires, though, this time. And, you know, the guys had a great stop as soon as Ernie left. It was a great stop. Robert Yates was high-fiving all his guys. And, you know, down to Steve Burns in the 6 pits.
Thanks, Mike. It looks like Mark Martin is going to come back in again. Steve Meal is over talking to Jack Roush atop the pit wagons. I think they're going to put left side tires on. We'll let you know as soon as he comes back in, but I believe he's on his way back.
Well, if that is the case, then they really do think it's going to be a fuel run to the end. As we said at the outset of today, so many times, because the fuel consumption rate is so high on this track, it is the final story. So now we come around and we'll complete the 162nd lap. That'll get us down to 95 miles if he tops the tank, huh? Get you a little closer.
I still think you'd be in the gray area.
Walking on the edge of the cliff.
Another view of the 6 cars pit stop. They seem to be having some problem. You heard Steve say he might come back in for left side tires. We've heard maybe the wrench in the back where they made a chassis adjustment might have got stuck in the car. And yep, Mark Martin is coming down pit road again, so they must have left the wrench in the back window.
Well, Chad, we just found out they actually need more gasoline to be able to finish this race, to go 39 more laps. So here comes Mark Martin right now around the car of Bill Elliott. Let's see what he does. They're going to the left side, so they will change those left side tires. Evidently, the right side is secure enough, but they'll get all the gasoline in they can and put the left side tires. Now, I should say this. We heard Mark Martin say on the radio, I want to stay out. I don't think I can make up the position if we go that far back, but they just played their hand. 2 left side tires and enough gasoline to finish.
Chad, they held that gas can up there quite a while, I thought. It looked like they might not have got him full, and they had to come back in.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to find out some more what happened exactly, but maybe a mistake happened the first time. All the gas might not have gone in.
Well, you've heard from the Baker Little jury up here as to the Mark Martin situation. We'll see how it plays out, and it will play out shortly here at Pocono in the Miller 500. A caution late in the Miller 500 has allowed everybody to fidget with these cars as they get ready for the final moments. So let's, before we get to what's gone on pit road and the topping of tanks, get our Amoco track fact from Ray Everham, and then we'll bring you up to date on the story here.
One of the things you never want to do during the course of a race is over-rev your engine. Now, the driver doesn't have a lot of time to look at a tachometer, so how does he know? One of the ways is to use a rev limiter. We can take a chip at a desired RPM and plug it into this box. When the engine reaches that RPM, the engine will skip, the driver will know, and he'll let off the gas. Another way we can do it is with what we call a shift light. It works on the same principle, uses a chip. When the engine hits a desired RPM, a bright light comes on, the driver lifts off the gas pedal. How do we limit Jeff during qualifying? We don't. We just throw the chip away.
You bet. All right, we're getting ready to throw all the stuff away and just get down for the finish. And let's go to Steve Burns to update how the leader, Mark Martin, had been doing. He's going to find himself well back on this start. Steve?
Ken, we need to capsulize what's just happened here to Mark Martin. It was, in fact, a problem with the air gun on the right side. They, in fact, were going to change 4 tires. As it turns out, they could not and had to send him back out. Now, it looks like if the leaders stay out, and it looks like they are as we see him come down the front stretch.
Martin is there.
That, again, that air wrench did hurt Mark Martin. Now let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, if you talk to the guys at the 88 team, you talk to the crew chief, Todd Parrott, and ask him if they've got enough gas to go all the way. He says, oh, yeah, no problem. I decided to go for a second opinion. I asked his brother. He shrugged his shoulders. He's not quite so sure. On the other hand, you get down to the 10 car, Ricky Rudd, he did it again. He took just 2 tires, and he thinks that they are going to be all right. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon has a problem with gear oil. They took a long pit stop here, not only topped off the tank, but they do have a gear oil problem. Let's go to Mike Wallace.
Down in the 28 pits with Ernie Irvin, Robert Yates' crew. Talked to Larry McReynolds, no problem on fuel. They're ready to race to the end now. They think they got the chassis set up in it, enough fuel. You're going to see those guys. We're going to have one heck of a race here. There's no more strategy. I think everybody's got enough fuel mileage. They're going to go for it now.
And Steve Burns, we saw that Mark Martin car come in that final time. It looked like he got just a pint of fuel. Looks like they're really playing their cards close. Boy,
well, Ken, their strategy was if the leaders stayed out, they would come in and take gas. You know, if the leaders could then not make it the rest of the way, then they'll be able to go ahead and take a shot at the win. That's why they topped off.
When you give the top 5 rundown, look where the number 2 is settled into. He's now in 2nd place.
In fact, as they get ready on this restart, you have Ricky Rudd first, Rusty Wallace second, Derek Cope third, Jarrett is 4th, then Ernie Irvin comes around in 5th. In 6th, as they come to the line, will be Benson, followed by Mark Martin in 7th. An interesting one. They're showing Dick Trickle in 8th. Huh?
He's run well all day.
Boy, that's a good one.
You know, it sounds like all the crew chiefs are pretty confident that they can go the distance, but I just wanted to make a note that right now they've been pitting at 34 to 5 laps. There's 36 laps left in the race, so it will be close.
Give a call to Dick Trickle for Junie Donlevy, who wiped out a car here a day ago. Right back in the thick of it today and being shown up in the top 10 for the first time. On the break, this comes at lap 165 of 200 to be run.
Mileage will be important in a little while, but right now, getting on the gas is important. You got to get away from these guys to win the race.
Rusty Wallace, as Buddy pointed out, has a way of being up there when you get things sorted out. And for the moment, he is in 2nd place. Lap car in between them. Looks like Morgan's up in there.
Johnny Benson in the yellow car. This is the tunnel turn that we talk so much about. As he starts across here, he starts down the short chute toward the front straightaway. You see him making a move here on Kenny Schrader on the inside.
Schrader a lap car, Benson in 5th. 28 sliding underneath his teammate, 88.
Wow, Benson's showing a lot of muscle here. He's all over the back of Dale Jarrett as they start down the front straightaway.
Pontiac looking good, number 30.
It's nice to see the Pontiacs having such a good run today.
Great to see the Pontiacs having a good run today. And some of the testing that's going on tomorrow here. New sheet metal Joe Gibbs is trying, and I would wonder what Joe Gibbs is looking towards Pontiac. Ricky Rudd stays first. Wallace in 2nd. Here's Irvin, followed by Jarrett and Benson, the top 5. And comes Marlin, Gordon, Martin, now in 8th. And that number 90 actually led a lap during all of those stops. So Dick Trickle has done more than his day's work today after a hit hard enough yesterday made you wonder if he was going to come out and play today. Not these guys. You can be pretty darn sure they can get into that seat. They're going to go out and run these cars at 200 miles an hour down this straightaway, just feather-footed into turn number 1 and gas it down that straightaway to the tunnel turn. Best motorsports competition you'll see is right here in Winston Cup racing, and the Miller 500 now has completed 167 laps.
See Ricky Rudd out in the lead right now. He didn't come in those last couple cautions to top off, so he ran 2 extra laps under caution than the guys that came in to top their tanks off.
With 33 laps to go, Mark Martin has been the story much of the day. He set on the pole. He fought his way up from about 8th. He's now back toward the tail end of this. There was one incident crash early in the going, and Bobby Hamilton's car was eliminated up here in turn 3. Now the 10 may have a problem, and Dick Berggren can give us more on that story.
Well, Ken, when they first got the restart, the 10 came through here with a pretty good puff of smoke behind it. That smoke seems to have very much dissipated at this point, but the team has confirmed that they have a very tiny oil leak. And you can barely see the tiniest wisp of smoke coming out, but it does bear watching. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon's crew has confirmed that they have their gear oil leak problem solved. They patched it up with silicone. They say they're okay, ready to go the whole way, no problem on fuel either.
Mark Martin closing on the Chevrolet of Jeff Gordon.
You see Mark there giving hand signals. What that means, he wants them to stay in line and draft down the straightaway and try to catch up to the cars they're trying to overpass there. As you see the 6th car there, he's working very hard to stay with Jeff Gordon. They're trying to make a move on Sterling Marlin as we speak.
Lake Speed's number 9, a factor in this game as he tries to keep him straight. Lake is back there in the 9th spot with number 9, and just behind him, Derek Cope.
Boy, we have some tight racing going on right there.
It's been a beautiful race all day. One incident other than that, it's been all strategy and great racing. Here's Rudd in first, Wallace deployed second, and then the always persistent Ernie Irvin right there in third.
You can see Jeremy catching 3rd gear there to start up this long straightaway down the back straightaway. That's Kenny Schrader there with the stripes, a new paint job on the Budweiser car. And Jeff Gordon, his teammate, on the outside trying to move to the front.
14th place lap down, Jeremy Mayfield. Gordon slipping up on the inside of Morgan Shepherd as he tries to move through. Good shot there, huh, Chad?
Yeah, we're reviewing that from is actually the bumper of Jeremy Mayfield's car. That's actually the indentation for where your license plate goes on your stock car, on your stock Ford Thunderbirds.
Now take a look at this. You've got him for the lead. Ricky Rudd is there. Rusty Wallace closes.
I don't know. No, not quite enough. You don't put that nose up there unless you know for sure that that lead car knows that you're there, because if you touch going in that corner, it's automatic wreck.
And again, Wallace comes up on the bottom. Rudd trying to repulse him another time, but at the tunnel turn, position goes to Wallace, and he's there. And here comes the 88 and the 28 side by side. That's going to be Jarrett flying and getting a spot on Ernie Irvin. That'll put Jarrett up into 3rd. 23rd lead change of the race puts Rusty Wallace into 1st place. Rudd now deployed in 2nd. You have Jarrett in 3rd, and perched on his rear bumper is Ernie Irvin. Following him, it's Johnny Benson, then Gordon. And Martin trying to get himself sorted out to charge back for the lead. Look at Johnny Benson's Pontiac, number 30, the yellow car down on the inside, giving his all against Ernie Irvin. What a run by Benson.
You know, we have to remember, Ernie got real high.
And got out of it. He had to lift all the way.
Oh, he lost some valuable spots there, but he did the only thing you can do. That's check up, get the car back straight. If he had touched the throttle, around it would have gone.
What happened there is we got Benson that was real close to him, and he got a position on him. I'm not sure that Ernie knew he was there or that close. As he started to come down, Ernie realized he was there, and he wasn't in position to make the turn.
So Wallace stays first. Rudd into 2nd. You have the 88, Jarrett running 3rd. Benson moves up into 4th. Gordon picks up a spot. Martin comes to 6th. 172 laps now complete. Take another look.
You see Benson underneath there? He just went down in there. The back got out just a little bit on the 28 car. They did not hit each other, but he had to back out to get it straight again.
Looked like he tried so hard to close the door.
Watch it just kind of right there, boy.
Had to overcorrect. Oof.
Great save.
Lucky Irvin in 28. Like Lucky Brown used to be down at Bradenton. In 37 previous races at Pocono, no driver has ever won their first career win on this track. You'd wonder if Benson could be the first to do it.
In only a second race here in Pocono, because remember, Johnny Benson is a rookie this year. This is his only second time here.
Wallace first. Rudd second. Jarrett third. Rick Benjamin can add more to this story.
Well, Rusty Wallace was in this same position a year ago, Ken. You might recall he led 9 times for 74 laps. He had to make a late race stop for fuel, though. Tried to get back to the front. He spun, ended up 16th. He's in good shape fuel-wise, it appears, for now, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Steve Burns, what do you think?
Rick, I just talked to Robin Pemberton, Rusty's crew chief, and I said, hey, can you guys make it? Robin said, I'm just not sure. If we run out of gas, it's going to be on the last lap.
Ford, and Pontiac up there in front.
Like he said, if we run out, it'll be on the last lap, not in the pits. So he's going to try to make it.
Buddy read right into that one, didn't he?
One thing these crew chiefs won't do, though, they won't tell you a great deal about what they plan to do either. I feel that they feel they can make the distance, or they would have come in and topped off with the lap to go before the restart.
To win the race, they will definitely take the gamble for 2 laps to go if it finishes under green.
See Jeff Gordon just coming into the frame there, and the red nose on that 24 car. Mark Martin was trying to get by him and down the straightaway. Mark moved to the inside. The 24 moved to the inside. Drafting is very important here, but Mark was trying to get by him down the front straightaway. Couldn't make it stick.
Not only drafting, but protecting the inside as you drive down into turn 1. Maybe a little blocking going on there.
Well,
you don't think so, do you?
No.
No.
Mark Martin in that 6th position, working on Gordon in 5th. That yellow earlier, a few laps back, has helped Earnhardt. He can close on Terry Labonte on the track. And in the point race before the yellow, Earnhardt was 5 positions behind Labonte. Now, thanks to that caution, he's 5 positions up on Terry Labonte. Anybody want to change their bet?
Well, I don't see how you'd bet. You see Ernie Irvin starting to regain some of the positions he lost by that wild ride he had towards the wall a while ago. That car is not just exactly right getting in the corner right now, though. I noticed it got a little sideways getting in just then.
Bobbed up again there in the turn, and number 18 has pulled out and gone back to the garage area. That's Bobby Labonte. Bobby Labonte has gone back into the garage. Derek Coconut, number 12, 9th position. Ernie Irvin 10th after he slid up the track. The 6 hugging the 24 in the main straightaway. Great picture in this 200-mile-an-hour shootout down into turn 1. Ever so gently into that corner. Travels young Jeff Gordon, defending Winston Cup champion, and Mark Martin having such a great day today, all chasing the 1991 winner here, Rusty Wallace, and there goes Kenny Wallace up in smoke. TIC car, and there is no sign of a caution at this moment as number 81, the Martozzi car, that Thunderbird looks like it's thundered for the last time today. Kenny Wallace coming out.
Yellow's coming out.
Caution is out.
Well, this changes the complexity of the whole race now, you guys, because now we have a caution at lap 176. Everyone will come in for tires and fuel, and the gas mileage won't be an issue now.
25th place Wallace brings out the 3rd caution of the day. It comes down on lap 177. Buddy?
Do you take a splash of gas if you're back trying to get track position? This can change everything, as Chad said. This is going to be very important. I'm glad I'm not down in the pits right now.
Well, you were a car owner. What would you do out there if you had a guy back there and on the tail end of this lead lap?
I'd be smart enough to have somebody like Larry McReynolds or those kind of people down there to make that decision.
Oh, that's nice. See, pass the buck. Steve Burns can tell us what the 2 car is going to do.
We just heard Robin Pemberton tell Rusty to stay out, but, you know, as Buddy said, they'll wait to see what some of these other crew chiefs do before they tip their hand. But right now, Rusty's going to stay out.
There he is in that front position. 177 on the board. 177 on the board. Wallace being shown as the leader. Jarrett second, Rudd third, Benson to fourth. Benson looked like he had more too. He looked like he could flex a little more.
This car, this number 30 car, has run second here with Michael Waltrip a few years back. So this Pontiac, for some reason, really gets around here. But they run good a lot of places. They're just a little snake bit right now. But this is going to change around because they have the man there, Johnny Benson, that can do the job, I think.
They're not so snake bit as they were, however. I mean, they're 29th in points, and they moved up a bunch. They moved up from 34th or 5th in the last couple of races. Now we see Ernie Irvin on pit road. Let's go down there.
Hey, Doreen.
Tire change. Left side. They took a look at that right on the right front, and they go around to the left side.
Okay, we're staying looking at Ernie Irvin's pit. He got a little out of the groove earlier and got behind. They come in, took advantage of this. All the leaders stayed out. 4 tires on the 28 car, so he's got fresh tires, plenty of fuel to run wide open.
Comment on that. He had a problem, so he had to come in. He made an adjustment on that race car that'll probably give him what he has to win. He was not going to the front the way the car was handling. He did the only thing he could do.
So with 178 laps complete, don't forget he still has 55 miles in which to accomplish it. That's plenty of time to pull it off.
Earlier today here at Pocono International Raceway, L. Weldon Palmer won $5,000, taking the Pocono sweepstakes. Our congratulations to Weldon Palmer, receiving his ceremonial check earlier here this afternoon. We are live in the STP Pit Communications Center. Laps winding down. There'll be 20 to go in just a few seconds. Field lining up now behind Elmo Langley in the Chevrolet Pace truck here today. Interesting sequence of events taking place. Johnny Benson Jr. could be in line for his first top 5 finish of the year. You know how many other Pontiac top 5s there have been this year? Only one. Bobby Hamilton did it here back in the June race. Best finish so far for Benson this year up till this week. Last week at New Hampshire, he led for a while, came home 9th. They're only top 10 of the year, so Benson could be in line for the best Pontiac finish of the season. Mike Wallace?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm in the 30 pits of Johnny Benson and the Pennzoil team, and these guys are all looking awful confident. Gas is not an issue. They got plenty of fuel to go to distance. You know, they ran awful well at Loudon last week. It was probably one of the first good runs of the year, real stable runs. They're back up with a top 5 run right now. Who knows? They might be in victory lane.
Take a look at Johnny Benson as we get set to settle this one. 96 Rookie of the Year contender last week. He had a 9th up there at New Hampshire. He has been getting stronger, and we'll come back to finish this one after we take a short break here at Pocono in the 23rd annual Miller 500. The Darrelou burial platform giving you these beautiful pictures of the Pocono Raceway, where twice a year the Winston Cup folks come in and perform. And here's a racer that's got a little problem.
2 tires on this pit stop.
Yeah. He got a little loose and landed in the pond, in the drink. 1 lap and they're going to be racing. When they do, we'll have 11 cars in the lead lap. Wallace, Jarrett, Rudd, Benson, Gordon, the top 5. Mark Martin is in 6th. Sterling Marlin is in 7th. Lake Speed will be 8th. Then you'll have Irvin 9th, and Cope is in 10th. Where are the point leaders running? That's where they are at this point. Terry Labonte back in the 18th position. Dale Earnhardt 15th. Jeff Gordon is 5th. Jarrett right up there at the top of the heap, and Sterling Marlin in 7th. Now on the tail end of that lead lap, you have Cope, and he came in, topped the tank a moment ago, as well as Bodine. 11 cars in the lead lap. The first car down is Mayfield in 12th, followed by Schrader 13th, Michael Waltrip 14th. Looking down turn number 1, out across that short chute that takes you up to the tunnel turn. What would the points be if they didn't have to run 20 laps, buddy? Mr.
It'd
Magic?
still be a riot.
Yeah, there you see him. Terry Labonte with the advantage over Earnhardt, Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd by those numbers.
That's still very, very close for the top 5 there.
And Johnny Benson, who has been moving up in the points. I tell you, guy that took the big tailspin was Ricky Craven over the last several. It was in 4th earlier, back to 15th, 17th now.
Yeah, that accident in Talladega really set him back, but he's a good driver. Too. He'll be back up front.
Let's see what happens on this restart. Get ready, folks. We're going to go racing with 19 laps remaining to decide this event. Actually, when they come to the line, they will have completed 182. That'll mean 18 laps to go and 45 miles to decide the race.
Boy, the restart's so important now, Chad.
It really is important, especially because getting position as they go down into turn 1. You can't afford to lose any positions now. There's not enough laps left in the race.
On board of the Schrader. Remember, he's a lap down in 13th on the inside, but you can watch the outside of those leaders as they take green. And they go down into that first turn. And immediately the 88 looks for a hole and tries to make them 3 wide going into the turn. As they hit that first turn, Wallace holds them off. Jarrett's right there in 2nd spot. Ricky Rudd coming to speed, stays in 3rd. Back straightaway, Benson is in 4th. Got to get sorted out a little here. It'll be the next lap. And here's Ricky Rudd. Oh, we've got one loose. That's Brett Bodine. We've got another one in the wall.
Looks like Joe Nemechek up against the outside wall there.
And his luck continues to be bad.
That's the exit of turn number 1 there, so obviously it happened on a restart.
Racing back to the line. Could be critical. Track position, everything here. And as they race to the line, Wallace extends the number 2 by 5, 6 car lengths. Here they come down the stretch, headed for the caution flag. Stacking them 3 wide. Staying in 2nd spot is Rudd. Jarrett stays 3rd. Everybody gave that one a shot. Now let's go back and take a look here at the outside of turn 1, where the incident took place that put Brett Bodine's car to the inside and another car into the wall. Nemechek sliding across the track, slams into it out there on the outside. What a hard time for Joe Nemechek these days. Just can't seem. Got another angle of this too.
Joe Nemechek was running in 30th place as Brett Bodine was in 27th place. And
oh, excuse me, Chad. I didn't mean to talk, but Marcus just did get by him there. As Bodine was spinning off the racetrack, the car you noticed that was so close to hitting him was Dave Marcus.
Well, buddy, you can attest restarts are the most opportune time for accidents to happen, and it seems like late in the race is when it's going to happen more than any other time because people aren't willing to give and take them.
Dick Berggren is down there in Brett Bodine's pit.
Yeah, the car's pretty badly damaged, Ken Squire. He's still got the engine running. It's going to be a 4-tire change. The left side of the car is well caved in, as you can see, behind the left front wheel. It's not what Brett Bodine needed. He has lost his sponsor for next year and is trying desperately to show that he's got the right stuff for the next sponsor. He does. Not today, though.
You know, for a wreck into turn number 1, actually, both of those guys got away pretty good because I've seen some wrecks down there in turn 1 at this track where they're going close to 200 miles an hour that are hair-raising. I mean, you can tear some cars up here.
We'll take a break and be back as they pick up Joe Nemechek's car out of turn number 1 and get set for a Pocono shootout. Well,
still under caution at Pocono International Raceway. Welcome back to NASCAR Winston Cup racing on TBS on a beautiful afternoon. 15 laps to go, and Rusty Wallace will set the pace as we see the field come down the main straightaway from our Duralube aerial platform here this afternoon. Rusty Wallace has things in command at this point, but another driver who thinks he might have a shot to win here is Ricky Rudd, who will line up second on this restart today. Rudd's a flat track specialist. His last victory came last fall at Phoenix. He could be a winner today if you like numerology. He's never won. This is his 35th start here at Pocono, but he's finished 3rd and 2nd in his last 2 outings here. Maybe this will be a day he comes home first, Ken.
Indeed, it could well be. Hey, don't forget, 37th annual UAW GM Quality 500, Charlotte, North Carolina, October the 6th. You going to run the Winston Cup car as well as your Grand National car down there, Chad?
Betcha, and we're awful excited about that.
Oh, it's fun to watch you run that 1.5 miles. And of course, many folks remember him coming from way in the back all the way up and winning down there a year ago. Huh?
How about qualifying 6th earlier this year?
Yeah.
With the Sterling Cowboy car, the unfortunate thing was is we fell out there before the green flag came.
Joe Nemechek's car is coming in. That's a heartbreaker for this team that tries so hard. Had one going today. Ended scant laps from the end of this thing. 15 to go as the hook brings him in. Yeah, October the 5th and 6th, TBS will take you down there to Charlotte, North Carolina, one of the great racetracks in the world, and bring you more Winston Cup action. And of course, next week is Talladega. You mentioned before, it's the first. You were the first guy to ever go 200 miles an hour. You did the lap there. We've heard that, and you won it 4 times.
Did I mention I won Charlotte 4 times? Oh, never mind. No, let's go ahead.
He didn't. Buddy didn't even mention that he got his first career win at Charlotte either.
No. But he mentioned several times that he sat on the pole for this race.
Hey, Chad, it's hard to remember that far back.
All right, with 15 laps to go to decide it, folks. Welcome aboard. This is going to be something. 11 cars all gathered together in that lead lap. Wallace leads them down into turn number 1. And the Pride of Missouri just cranks that big number 2 Miller Ford into that first turn so gently. What a thing if he could win on the day his sponsor has the event. He's certainly giving it the old Penske try.
All the cars you see on the left side of the racetrack right there are lap cars right now, and they were held up a little bit. Ricky Rudd in second there, Dale Jarrett in third. They were held up just a little bit, but these guys are trying to get back in the lead lap right here. They have to race hard.
The 1989 Winston Cup champion trying to stay up there in the lead. He's drawn a big bead on first place. Rusty Wallace going for that 15th. Change that. Call it 45th career win. Comes down off the corner, and he's got him covered by 25, 30 car lengths. It's a battle for second place right now.
This is the old deal where the cars running side by side are a little slower than the one when they're not, and saw Rusty have a chance to spread his lead out.
Ricky Rudd has now gotten by the lap traffic on the inside. Let's see if he can pull in on Rusty Wallace with only, well, we're almost down to, what, 12 laps to go.
Can he do it by himself out there with that much of a lead? Pretty hard trucking, isn't it?
Well, not only does he have to catch him, but he has to pass him. Those are two different things.
Here's Wallace. Car prepared by Robin Pemberton. Further back, this struggle continues. Rudd in there in second, Jarrett in third, Benson in fourth, Gordon in fifth. Mark Martin, who's led 120 laps, he's just fallen back to 8th.
You're riding with Mark Martin. We'll get a chance in a few minutes to probably see Ernie Irvin. You talk about somebody flying up through traffic. He has 4 brand new tires on that car. He is moving up through here. Look, you see the 6 car there, Mark Martin, trying to come down, get in turn 1 there.
Mark Martin definitely closing back in, and Rudd has cut down the distance on Rusty Wallace. Cut it down by a third and still closing up. It's like Jeremy Mayfield right there with him. Remember, Mayfield is a lap down in 12th position. When they come by, 11 laps to go. And that interval continues to accordion, tighter and tighter together. There's the 24, Jeff Gordon. Remember, he's 5th. Irvin is in 6th right behind him. And then comes Sterling Marlin. Marlin's been right up here among the leaders all day.
Boy, what a scramble. Here comes Ernie looking to the inside. Not quite. You see Jeff Gordon get down in the corner very fast there. Sterling Marlin's right behind there in the 4 car. I don't know whether Ernie's going to have time. I don't believe he's going to be able to close in on the lead car by the end of the race.
Best place to pass on this track?
Probably down, getting into the corners, or getting your car to turn in the middle of the corner and then drag racing them down the straightaway.
Ricky Rudd looking to get a win. Knock at the 14th consecutive season if he pulls it off. There's that interval, and it has shrunk.
Ricky Rudd is flying around this racetrack. The 3rd car there is not the 3rd place car. It's Jeremy Mayfield, but Ricky Rudd's closing in.
Trying to repulse Ricky Rudd at Chesapeake, Virginia. Missouri's Rusty Wallace and the St. Louis Flyer still in front at 200 miles an hour. They peel off into turn number 1. Dale Jarrett winner of this race a year ago, stays in third in the number 88, and Johnny Benson from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I bet Michigan's going wild this afternoon. What a great run for Johnny Benson. Folks up there are so proud of the accomplishments he did in the ASA and then in the Grand National ranks, and he's got that number 30 really in gear today.
That's a beautiful shot. You can see him coming down into the flat corner towards the front straightaway there. That's Johnny Benson there in the yellow car. Just behind him, Ernie Irvin, who has got by Jeff Gordon, who is going backwards right at the moment.
So Irvin picks up a spot. That'll put him in 5th, drop Gordon to 6th. And there you see in front of this capacity house, the interval between 1st and 2nd as it closes. And the freight train is moving in on the lone bandit out in front, Rusty Wallace.
Congo line coming down the front straightaway there.
Eight laps to go when they come by this time. Boy, Wallace using up some racetrack.
You know what he's thinking right now? This is probably the longest 9 laps that I'll ever have in my career, because you can see that 10 car and it's day glow red, and it shows up very well in the mirror. So he has to, every time he looks, all he sees in that mirror is that 10 car coming.
Remember what Steve Burns told us. They didn't pit that number 2 and add fuel. They're trying to run it light at the end. The issue will be with him. Will it cough? Will it burp in that last lap?
I don't think the cough or burp's going to matter, but I think that 10 car is closing in on him. He's going to have to get through these corners and forget about fuel mileage and run the perfect line if he plans to beat Ricky Rudd here.
Yeah, I agree, buddy. I don't think fuel mileage will become an issue anymore. We had too many caution flag laps. It's going to come down to whose chassis is working the best right now, and whose car begins to get the widest. You know, that's always a key factor, especially on a flat track like this.
Well, Rusty's very good at making that thing wide. But Rudd is definitely there.
And just behind Jeremy Mayfield there, Dale Jarrett is moving in also. So this is not over by a long shot, Ken.
Rusty Wallace and the Penske team, they've got the PC1's record spotless entering this race. That's the car he's running today. They entered the weekend race looking to exonerate themselves in their first ground-up race car for what happened in their debut back in June. They feel this car is ready to win this race. Rudd looking to take it away right now.
Well, those two cars are very, very evenly matched around this racetrack. Right now, Rusty has to run the perfect line. The 10 car there, what he has to do is use that draft down the straightaway to pull him even closer to Rusty Wallace.
Buddy, what position would you rather be in right now? With evenly matched cars, would you rather be first or would you rather be second?
I like the problem to be the man that wants to get by. I like to be in the lead. I like to be the guy that if I move to the inside, I'm just protecting the lead.
This is the car that ran here back in June that's out in front, that number 2. It qualified 19th. It finished 31st. That doesn't sound impressive, but it was one of the fastest cars here all during that race. It can run with anyone. They played a patient game in that one, got up into the top 10 after about 50 laps and were looking good. Then it just didn't go their way. They burned out the clutch. Today, that's not the situation at all. He may not burn out a clutch. He may be burned up with Ricky Rudd if he gets up there beside him. You can't blame this one on equipment. This is a great driver shootout. And there will be 5 laps remaining as they come to the line with Wallace first, Rudd in second, Jarrett in third, Irvin in fourth, and in fifth, Benson out of Michigan in that yellow Pontiac.
Ernie's made up a lot of ground from that slide he had a long time ago. He put new tires on that car. He's really moving towards the lead cars. He's going to run out of laps, I'm afraid, though.
Anybody that bought a ticket for this race is going to go home satisfied. To see him charge through this field the way he did, to watch Benson's performance all day, just marvelous. And to see this kind of a finish as Wallace and Rudd continue to get ready to duke it out.
The third place car, Dale Jarrett called his crew a while ago. He has a lot of fumes in the car. He's asked for oxygen after this race is over. But he's driving his heart out right now as you see him in third spot going through the flat corner towards the front straightaway.
And remember, what is it, 130, 135 degrees in there all afternoon. The only stops they've had, those brief stops on pit road, and then get with it and get on it. Here's Dale Jarrett in third place. Up in front. The interval a little tighter as Ricky Rudd continues to roll toward Rusty Wallace. When they come by this time, there will be 3 laps to decide the 23rd annual Miller 500. Wallace going for his 2nd win in this event.
Ricky Rudd going for his first win of this year.
Yeah, and 14th consecutive year that he's won a race if he can do it. Look at that Chesapeake, Virginia driver just throttle that thing on that flat part of the track. He seems to gain a little there. Now can he gain a little more here?
Can he better throttle because Dale Jarrett is gaining on him every lap. You see the third car there, the blue car coming in the focus right there. He is flying around this racetrack. He may have fumes in there. It's a good reason. He's putting a lot through the exhaust pipe.
He's got some making up to do.
That's pretty sound, isn't it? I have that when I go to sleep on a headset.
1991 winner Rusty Wallace trying to repeat. Rudd stable at 5 car lengths back, and look back here. There they are, the 30 of Benson running 5th. Then comes Marlin in 6th. Jeff Gordon in 7th, bumper to bumper. And to the inside comes Sterling Marlin. Marlin trying to give it a shot down on the bottom side. He's got Benson high. In turn 1, nobody letting up. Jeff Gordon just touches the back of number 4. Let's not forget that Lake Speed is right there at well. The Mississippi driver, Lake Speed, is having just a grand day in that number 9. He goes to the outside on Gordon, and he stayed with him over the last 20 miles. Benson, Marlin, Gordon, Speed. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Back up front.
Look at Dale Jarrett coming in 3rd place there. He has caught Ricky Rudd. The white flag is coming out, Ken.
Final lap. And will that 2-car draft overtake the leader? They've got enough between them. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Wallace in front. Scoots into the first turn for the final lap. Dale Jarrett closes up on Ricky Rudd. They shuffle a little out of turn number 2. Take it to the outside all the way. Anything left, give it all now.
See Rusty pulling the inside there to cut off the draft to Ricky Rudd going down the back straight there. It also helped him gain just a little bit on Jarrett down that back straightaway.
At the end of 500 miles here today, you've got 3 Thunderbirds thundering toward the finish line into turn 3 for the final time. Coming into the main straightaway and down the stretch. Here comes Jarrett to the inside on Rudd as they come to the stripe. For the 45th time, Rusty Wallace has won. Ricky Rudd is going to get 2nd spot by about 3 feet. Wallace winning for the 3rd time at Pocono, the 2nd time in this race, and that is his 4th win of 1996. So Ford has won 3 of the last 4 races of the 1996 campaign, and Rusty Wallace pulls it off today here in the Miller 500 at Pocono for his sponsor.
And that wasn't gas mileage. That was horsepower and driving there, folks.
Yeah, that's for sure. The gas mileage was a factor all day long until that caution came out with about 35 laps to go. In the end here, it was pure driving and whose car was handling the best.
Terry Labonte now leads Earnhardt by 12 points. We'll tell you more about the standings in a moment, and you'll meet the winner of this afternoon's Miller 500 here on TBS after we pause for these messages. At Pocono, Pennsylvania, let's journey down to the Purolator Winner's Circle right now with Dick Berggren and the champion today.
As Rusty Wallace climbs out of his race car, the flash goes off all over the place. Hundreds of cameras here to record the moment. Rusty, those last few laps, your mirror was getting increasingly full of that orange number 10. How worried did he have you?
Well, he had me worried because he really ran strong. I mean, Ricky had a great handling car. I was really about the 88 car, but Ricky beat him back on the caution flag, and it worked out good, man. This old Thunderbird really hauled today. I'd like to thank Miller. Man, I tell you, it seems like keep winning these Miller 500s. Fleetwood, Meade, Boble, all of them. Bosch, it was a neat deal today.
You seemed to come on better at the end. Were you conserving the car at the beginning, or did it get better for you as the race wore on?
Well, the car kept getting better and better. This is PC1, our new car, you know, and I think we got us something, Hill. This is 2 for 2 out of this car. This is the car I thought I had this race won with last time. We took it to Michigan and won. Now we brought it back to Pocono and won. So it's running. I'm happy with it.
Close at all on fuel?
No, Robin and Tom Hoke and his entourage had it figured pretty good. We had some stuff left. All those caution plays really helped us.
Hey, Rusty, we're going to go to your brother. Mike Wallace, pick it up.
Well, I'm here with Ricky Rudd, Tide driver. Number 10 car runs second to Rusty. We're just sitting here as drivers talking, getting through one good, got through the tunnel good. Ricky, why don't you run us the rest of the way around?
Well, like I say, turn 3, everyone will tell you if you can't get out of turn 3, you won't go down the front straightaway. And I think I proved them wrong today. I could not get through turn 3, but I could go down the straightaway. So, you know, we elected to go for a low downforce and high straightaway speed, and worked pretty good all day. Except right there at the end of the race, Rusty got his car working a little bit better. Dale Jarrett was working a little bit better than I was, but we held on to finish second.
What about that run from Jarrett coming off the corner?
Well, I'm just glad he didn't have one more lap because he'd have had me. He definitely was hooked up in the corner.
There you go. You got it from Ricky Rudd. Run second. Back to you, Steve.
Well, Dale Jarrett, first of all, Dale, we heard that you're not feeling well. How are you?
I'm fine. I just caught a bug or something Friday night and had some headaches and just upset on my stomach, but I'm fine. Didn't have any bearing there. I'm just a little upset with lap cars. Think we could have won the race, but these guys with the Ford Quality Care Ford Credit team did a terrific job. We had a car that went to the front and stayed there all day, and I'm really happy for them. We gained some points on everybody.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say you didn't win the race, but another top 5 finish, and that's what it takes to win championships.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we needed to do, and it's just a shame. I felt like that we could win this race, but you know, at least the Ford won it. Congratulate Rusty. Ricky ran a good race, and you know, we'll take third and go next week to Talladega and see if we can gain some more.
Okay, thanks, Dale.
So there you have it. There's the one that won, or a near likeness, just floating over the place. On number 2, Ford Thunderbird of Rusty Wallace. What a great ride today. Can we get a word with Ernie Irvin? Well, let's go do that right now.
The gas pumps, Ernie, phenomenal run all day. Got a little behind. Looks like you and Benson kind of got close down there and won, but hell of a run at the end.
Well, I tell you, you know, it's really good to be, you know, finishing up like what we should be in the top 5, and you know, the guys just, you know, gave me a great race car today, and you know, can't say enough for the engine shop. You know, we were a little bit down last time we were here, and I tell you, I don't know what they did, but they stepped it up.
I tell you what, I spent most of the time in a 28 pit today, Ernie, and those guys are pumped up on you. The 88 car, it's phenomenal how a 2-car team, they talked a lot on the broadcast about how 2 teams work together. How you think your 2 teams are working?
Well, there's no doubt our 2 teams are working good. You know, I was sitting there leading, and Dale hadn't led a lap. I asked Larry, I said, has Dale led a lap? He said, I was just getting ready to ask you. He said, if you want to, you can let him lead. And I was already pulling over, letting him lead a lap, and I went right back by him. So, you know, that's the way 2 teams, you know, a 2-car team needs to work. And, you know, we share our setups together, and, you know, shock setups, and, you know, that's what it takes to make it work.
I'll tell you what, that's from Ernie Irvin, a great race team with Robert Yates. But I tell you what, folks, the race is on right now. We're all on our way to the airport. That's the best race of the whole weekend, is trying to get out of this racetrack and beat traffic. We're gone.
Well, thanks, Mike, for a great job today. Mike Wallace. And Steve Burns is with the pride of Michigan, Johnny Benson.
Yep, Johnny Benson had just 2 top 10 finishes before today. Johnny, great run.
I'll tell you what, we're pretty excited for the Pennzoil Pontiac and their whole team. Man, what a great job they've done. We were junk when we got here last time, and, you know, didn't feel too good about that. None of us did. And it says, man, when we go back there, we need to run good. And they did. They put a heck of a car together. It's not even really the car we were going to bring here. We just happened to bring the car we ran out loud, and it worked really good, and we took a chance on bringing it here.
Johnny, how did you get things turned around then? If you were so bad last time, junk in your words, how did you get so much better today?
Well, the team's always done a great job, so hopefully the driver just get around here a little bit better. But we were just, I don't know. I don't know on that first one. We're just, nothing seemed to go our way, and we just had a bad day. So we're hoping definitely coming back and to improving on that run, and it looks like we did that today.
Okay, thanks, Johnny. Great qualifying and a great finish. Let's go now to Rick Benjamin.
Now, Steve, it's time now for the Plasticoat Winning Finish Award. Plasticoat is the official spray paint of NASCAR, and they're proud to sponsor the Winning Finish Award. It goes to the winning crew chief. That's Robin Pemberton of the Penske South Group. Plasticoat presenting $2,000 to Robin today, the highest finishing Winston Cup team participating in Plasticoat's award program. Now, at the end of the year, the crew chief with the best average finish wins $25,000. We'll see how it plays out. Congratulations to Robin Pemberton and the entire Penske South Racing Group. A big win today in the Miller 500 here at Pocono. Rusty Wallace enjoying the accolades in victory lane. We'll come back, find out a little more about today's event on TBS right after this. Welcome back to Pocono International Raceway here on TBS. The Miller 500 complete today. Rusty Wallace gaining his 4th Winston Cup win of the 1996 season. Picked up a lot, 65 points Rusty gained. He was 9th in the Winston Cup standings coming in today. In the top 10 both times here at Pocono, or 2nd at both Pocono events. Ford 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the 2nd week in a row, too. They did the same thing last week at New Hampshire. Rusty holding off Ricky Rudd today, and Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett for a great victory here at Pocono International Raceway. Next week, the Tour moves to Talladega, fastest speedway in the world, 500 miles, and Rusty and his team looking to make it 2 straight here next Sunday afternoon. A lot of talk here in the broadcast today and before about the point race and what would happen. Well, Terry Labonte didn't do very well today. Neither did Dale Earnhardt. Jeff Gordon gained some ground with a 7th place finish here today. That's the kind of run, Ken Squire, that a team like that needs if they want to get back into championship contention.
There were so many well-told stories at the end of this one. We had a new track record of 144 miles an hour. The point standing battle, well, it's down to 12 between Labonte and Earnhardt. Jeff Gordon now just 80 points behind. Dale Jarrett whittling away 157, and Ricky Rudd 323 out from the top man Terry Labonte. As you look further back, Marlin, Schrader, Wallace, Musgrave, and Ernie Irvin in the top 10 as we move on to race number 18. Take a look at the results on today's race. John Benson's 5th place. That's his first ever top 5, his first career top 5. Lake Speed, a little further back. Lake Speed, first top 10 of the year for Lake. Well done job for him as he came home in 8th position. Mark Martin in 9th, and Derek Cope for Bobby Allison had himself a 10th spot. Looking a little further back on this one, Jeremy Mayfield a lap down in 12th with Michael Waltrip, and Earnhardt ended up the day in 14th with Schrader 15th. Ricky Craven finishing up in 20th today as he tries to get back onto a cycle that's something besides down, which he's been in for 4 or 5 weeks. And Bill Elliott has a 21st on a track where he's had a considerable amount of success. Rick Mass back there in 30th. Greg Sachs with his new ride, 29th for number 29. So, gentlemen, final thought from you, Buddy Baker, about what we've seen here today.
Well, it's a great auto race. I'll tell you what, I'm sure we're going to hear something about the rules, though, and the Ford's domination on the major speedways. We heard it from the Chevrolets when they were winning. I look for it to happen again with the Fords dominating like they did today.
Well, how about you, Chad, a little? Nice to have you with us.
Well, I appreciate it again. Like always, I mean, it was a wonderful race today. We saw a lot of green flag racing, which is always exciting because you get to see the pit crew perform in green flag racing, and that's what those guys practice for. And towards the end, we saw the whole race come together, so a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to work today.